slide.
Yeah, yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
you know how people talk about like if they were like the king of the world, what they would do, or like a dictator or something.
Yeah.
I've got like a whole list of things. Me and my friend have a running list, but like the first one I ever put on the list is, all right, none of these are like punishable by jail, or they're not even necessarily illegal. It's just if you do this thing, that's fine. You just have to get voluntarily sterilized in order to do it. And the first one is just
Before
buying.
you do it?
Yeah, and then you can just do it as much as you want. Really, it's the first one
Okay.
is buying lottery tickets.
You can buy lottery tickets if you sterilize yourself first.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not even like I'm like gambling's probably not great, and people waste a lot of money on them. It's not even that I'm inherently against them. It's that lottery people are fucking annoying. I don't know how they do it in Utah. Flip, did you have to sell lottery tickets when you worked in a liquor store?
There's no lottery in Utah.
Oh yeah, there's not.
Very
Oh, you want to know what's funny? I forgot.
It's very illegal here.
So you're making the Mormons out procreate everybody too with your little rule.
Yeah. So one of the funny parts is there's this place. It's Manan, Idaho. It is right on the border of Utah. It's like the last city in Idaho before you get into Utah. Very small.
Cigarettes, porn, and lottery tickets town.
Yeah, it's got this big old gas station that has this gigantic seating area for like it's not like a restaurant there or anything. You would think there was with the amount of chairs and tables they have. No, it's for the Utah scratch junkies that come up there. They're sitting there with their barefoot kids like, Mom, can we go? Shut the fuck up. Mom is going to win big. I've been on a losing streak too long. But in Idaho, the lottery tickets are bought at the liquor store. Not just there, but also at gas stations. Every fucking time I go to the liquor store, nobody just says, give me 2 of those. She hands them 2 of those, and that's it. They fucking ask. They're like shopping around. What's the mega douchebag retard up to today? Is it up to $1 billion yet? Well, almost. It's going to get there. Someday my number's going to come in. And I'm going to build a big castle in the sky and provide for all my friends. And then they turn around. I'm sorry I'm taking so long. No, you're fucking not. So you're allowed to do that. But you'll be sterilized in my utopia. The ones at the gas station are annoying because they will scratch. They will buy a ticket and then scratch it and then redeem it while there's like 4 people in line behind them.
Who else gets sterilized?
People who walk too slowly in Sam's Club. People who like Sam's Club. I hate Sam's Club so much because that's where all the mega fatties go. And those people go with their whole family and they walk like quintuple file down the aisle.
Were they missing for about a month there?
I never go to. I made the mistake of going on a Saturday at 2, and I shit you not. You got the line to get in the door. It's taken forever to get in the door, and these 3 fat fucks walking triple file stop in the door to just look over at this bucket of pretzels. That's the first thing in the door, and they're just like staring at it. And we're bottlenecked behind them. There's like 40 of us out there with, hey, come on. Oh, I coined the politically correct term for fat people. We call us Ozempic Americans from now on.
They're Ozempic less, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. And then the other big one is menu squinters. That's what I call the people who do not already know what they're getting when they go to the drive-through window. Like if you don't know what you're getting, if you have to look at the menu, you're going inside. So you can squint at the menu like a retard. By the way, you're at a fucking McDonald's. Don't pretend you don't already know everything on that menu. I wonder, do they have a Big Mac? Yeah, they have a Big Mac.
When I was 19, I worked at the airport, the Concourse D TCBY yogurt shop, and that was pre-COVID. And Concourse D was the Delta concourse, and so it was by far and away the busiest concourse in the airport. And there were routinely lines that would stretch out the little snack bar area and then out into the concourse and around the corner. And people would legitimately be in line for 45 minutes. and it was a TCBY, which like already okay, there's not that much going on at TCBY, and it was TCBY Express, so it had like a limited menu, and there were 4 flavors. There were like 3 things you could get, and it just blew my mind that after spending 45 minutes in that line, they'd get up to me and they'd be like, "What do you have?" What the fuck? Like what? How like you all this time you didn't spend like and like the 4 flavors, like there's the big sign above my head, there's the packets or the plaques in front of each of the dispensers, and then like I can't remember, somewhere else like in front of me and that was like there was 3 different places where the 4 flavors were engaged. And then the other thing is that like there was cake cone, an ice cream cone is called a cake cone.
Yeah.
And the menu had one option for cake cone. It was cake cone, $1.98 or whatever it was back in 1999. And it said cake cone. And so I would give them the TCBY standard cake cone, which is like 5 inches of stuff swirled on. They'd be like, "Oh, can I get a small?" Or no, that's right. They'd come up and they say, "Can I get a small cake cone?" And so I just give them the standard cake cone. I'm like, "Well, I wanted a small." I'm like, "No, there's just one size. Like, there's no small. There's just cake cone. Like, you can dump half of that into the fucking garbage for all I care. I don't know. Like, this is the thing they sell."
Did I tell you, working at the movie theater was always annoying because I hated doing concessions. I like the other stuff, but concessions was annoying because it's all these people. They come through and they're looking up, and we have our combos there. And they think that it's, like combos are at restaurants. How if you buy a burger, fries, and a drink together in a combo, it's going to save you a little bit of money on all 3. No, at the movie theater, it just adds all 3 of the prices up. And they don't like put that on the screen. You just have to add it up yourself. They'd be like, "What's the best deal here?" And I was like,
"You are in the wrong place for deals."
I know you're at a movie theater, buddy. The best deal is to sneak some shit in your pockets. And
yeah.
And I would just tell everybody right off the bat.
Do you not have a mom to put all the candy in her purse? Like,
they'd come in and I tell them right off the bat, they'd be like, "So which one of these combos is the best deal?" I'm like, "All of these combos are just the price of the 3 items added up." So like, "What? That's a ripoff." Like, I know you're buying concessions at a movie theater. This is not highway robbery. So stop telling me that. This is you being a retard and buying $15 worth of popcorn.
So through all of school, I worked at a Walmart photo lab. And that's how I got through school, mostly on like a largely grave shift. But what they did at Walmart was they decided any number that they saw on the board behind you must pertain to what their package was. So there's this big sign that says each 8x10 was like $1 or something like that. And so like for one single 8x10, so they'd come and get a packet of 48 4x6s. And they look up at the board and says, "It says 10 cents." And you're like, "No, it doesn't." "Yes, it does. Right there, 10 cents. And I had that conversation 95 times a day.
Just point to another one. Be like, "You see that one over there across the store? That says $85. That's how much it is, jackass."
Yeah. Anyway, I almost lost my mind working at Walmart. But
oh, dude, everybody loves that highway robbery joke when they go, "This is highway robbery." And I'm just like, buddy, when I go into a movie theater, I almost never buy concessions. And when I do, I'm the stupid one. I'm always like, "Man, I'm such a fucking idiot buying this stuff."
The drinks are like $6.
Well, so, the airport, obviously, like airport has the most extreme pricing of all. And I remember there's one lady came in one day because like next to the TCBY was like the other part of the snack bar that had different things. And we'd work at both of them. And she comes up, she's like, "How much for a bottle of water?" And I'm like, "Well, after tax, they're $2.07. She's like, "What? Are you kidding? For one bottle of water?" And I'm like, "I can sell you this big cup, like, like a soda cup. And like it's like 25 cents, and you can just fill that. Like we have ice cold filtered water coming out of that fountain right there. $2 for a bottle of water." I'm like, "You know what? I'll just give you the cup. Like I'm supposed to charge you, but I don't care." It's like, "I just can't believe that it's $2 for a bottle of water." I'm like, "Well, it's an airport." She goes, "I'll take 7." Okay, like the water coming out of the fountain, it's the same stuff, but all right.
The funniest part about the theater is that there's some people that just the tiniest amount of power in the world can go to their head. So there's some, like, I don't know why anyone would care if somebody's bringing, like, you can tell when people are sneaking shit in. I gave zero shit. Like, and there's some of them were dumb. Like, this one girl's coming through and I'm selling the tickets and she orders them. And she's got a hoodie on and there's like an obvious box. Like, her gut is square and she's this tiny, rail thin girl. And I was like, okay. In my head, I'm like, I don't care if she takes it in. I am totally fine with her taking it in. I am not totally fine with her thinking that I am so stupid that I didn't notice that. So then I was just like, nice jacket, by the way. And she just kind of blushes and goes to her movie. So, or there's this lady that comes in, she's buying concessions. And the kid points to the Reese's Pieces. Mom, we have those. And she's like, yeah, we have those at home. You got them for Easter. And he's like, no, we have those now. Like, no, we have those at home. And he's like, no, Mom, in your purse, see? And he's like, oh, she's like, stop. And I was like, look, lady, I do not care.
Dude, you should have taken him like right there. Like, all right, your mom's going to jail, kid, because you blabbed.
It's over.
Stop noticing, kid. You're an anti-Semite. Anyway, the people and working with people at the jobs is a never-ending source of fun. What are your names? I pulled in with minutes before we were coming, so I didn't have time.
Come up with a funny name.
Well, that's kind of it. Brigham's stenographer.
Yeah, that's a good name. I like it.
What's yours?
Proctophobe.
A proctophobe?
He's the opposite of a fart fetishist.
Yeah. Oh, that's the word for the fart fetishist.
So,
did you guys want to talk about the fart fetishist?
Well, I'll preface this real quick by saying I want to let you know how uninteresting and dull Word Radio talking about Adam God theory is, because I couldn't get through like 28 seconds of that. And I watched like 2.5 hours of the Fart Fetish podcast today. So
you actually watched that guy's podcast?
I did. I watched the Soft White Underbelly interview and he said he had a podcast, and then I went and watched the podcast.
How many times do you have to hear somebody be like, well, I just like it when chicks fart on me?
It's not a book, but I guess that deserves like I guess I got to go to the degenerate Jared. It's way down there. Maybe it's way too far down there.
I'm listening to this episode. The first episode is just him talking about how we need to break the stigma of, I guess, fart phobia or something. He didn't say that, but I like it. And he's like, there's a stigma around people. People just like different things. And here's some comments, and he reads off some comments. Like, they think we're just a big joke. And I was like, yeah, of course. You just told me that you like it when fat women sit on your face and rip ass. How do I not laugh at that's fucking hilarious?
Yeah,
you could totally do it. And I can totally judge you. Everybody wins. You get ass to the face, and I get the funniest thing I've ever seen, which is you.
Well,
and then he's like passing off as a serious fetish that he wants people to take seriously, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, one thing that I thought was interesting listening to that guy on Soft White Underbelly, we should explain that the Soft White Underbelly podcast had a guy on who was like the fart fetishist guy. And he kept saying that, like,
come on, you guys, he was just an ex-Mormon.
That's right.
No, I'm just kidding. That was a different episode.
I listened to all of that today too. But the thing that struck me is that, like, he kept saying, like, I want it to be torturous. He used that word, torture. Like, the worse it is. And then he also described about how, like, when he's paying women to do it, like, I wish he'd gotten into pricing. That would have been interesting. Like, how does that work? But, like, he says, like, his fantasies are usually better because, when you're paying somebody to do it, like, it's not real. It's not genuine. And, like, you're describing women and their rape fantasies.
I know. It's not genuine beef stew that you're getting. It's she doesn't really want to fart on me.
Yeah, but, like, and it's kind of fascinating to me because, like, because, like, that's obviously what's going on with women in their literature and stuff. Or, like, oh no, they like this imagination, but it's hard to get it in real life, because it involves somebody committing crimes and stuff.
It's got to always be in the back of your head when you got some fat lady ass blasting into your open mouth. Like, this lady is disgusted with me. Like, she has to be. She's acting all professional as you can about this. I know that because that's her
That's just
code
what I
of
think of
120.
any lady
But
I'm talking with at any point. No, I'm just kidding.
I know she's got to think I'm just like disgustingly pathetic, which maybe furthers the kink.
Maybe.
I mean, that's things like he said. He made it very clear that like it was about humiliation and domination. He wanted to be dominated by having women fart on him.
Oh man,
You know?
he had the other episode I listened to was a newer one where he had a woman host it with two other women talking, and they were talking about the troubles women face in the proctophilia community.
Oh,
They face a lot of oppression there. They
Yeah,
face a lot of
they do.
discrimination.
I feel like-
Do women only suck up 74% of the farts?
Yeah. They're like, I feel like when I go, because I like being farted on too, but I feel like when I'm with a dude and we're in the lifestyle, the fart lifestyle, you know, he's expecting me to be there for his pleasure. So he will let me fart into his mouth a lot. And he just thinks I'm there to fart on him. And he doesn't expect to have to fart into my eyes either. You know, like it's
He's trying to fart in a dominant way, and I want to fart more communally. We just view it differently.
It's just the patriarchy just bleeds into everything, you know. Even the fart fetish community.
Well, I mean, if you really did want to do feminist critique of it, women do have lower lung capacity. Don't bring that up to the trans community. Lower lung capacity, so they do huff less fart with each fart. So there is a gap in fart huff, and that's a problem.
No, I actually know a woman who
problematic.
I actually know a woman who has greater lung capacity than me. So what you said isn't true.
What? You know one? Oh, you abolished my entire theory. But that theory, my theory was helping the oppressed. So we overlook a fact. We overlook facts if we're helping the oppressed.
The only reason I listened to this, because I don't know, I've heard of all the nasty one, like you got the scat people who like getting shit on, the piss people, and they just gross me out. I'm like, ugh, that's just disgusting. I don't really even want to hear them talk about it, even hate listen, you know. But this one, the fart one, it is gross, but it's less the disgust factor and more it's just hilarious. Like I haven't seen a group of people that I want to laugh at and make fun of this much since I first heard about cucks.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I don't know how it works with the olfactory system and the particles and all that stuff, but if you are smelling something, you do have something in your nose that was in their butt a minute ago,
You
right?
probably have something in your eye. Like, what's the pink eye rate? Like, are there eyeball condoms you can wear or something? Let's put goggles on. Protection.
Or does smell emanate and it's not actually anything from the particle, and we got some sort of quantum emanation that we can imagine is there to not have to just agree that there's something from their butt inside of our nose now.
That thing is like, because like, you know, if there was what's called aversion therapy, you know, like, because like if ever you should go have a guy zap you, it's if you want women to fart on you. You know?
How would we zap them with farts, man? You bring in the actual farter, or is it video of farts? Would it not be ethical to have an actual farter with the zap? But then they'd get a fetish for the zap farts.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say instead of the zap, you're like trying to fart the gay out of it, like you get a gay guy in there. I don't want to be gay anymore.
You use the farts as
every time you see gay porn, some fatty has to fart in his face.
You guys just gave me a PTSD memory with all this fart talk. On my mission, I've talked about him before. One of my companions was one that, like, we formed a group of friends who survived this companion. Like, people who are ex-companions of this guy, we got a group, like, out there, right? And he's the dude who I've described was basically Beavis, who was obsessed with the Book of Mormon. He's like, what do you want Book of Mormon for your bunghole? What do you like? First Nephi, second Nephi. That guy was so weird. I'm not joking that he talked like that all day, every day. Looked like him, looked just like him, talked like that all. Didn't talk about anything else. But then on the very first night we got back to our apartment after he was asking me, what's your favorite part of the Book of Mormon, Elder? We get home and he goes, he's just suddenly on the bed doing a blue dart. No, I can do a blue dart. I can do a blue dart. I can do a blue dart. And I was like, dude, I am not going to giggle and laugh with you about blue darts here. You are weird. You weird Napoleon Dynamite. You wouldn't fit in a Napoleon Dynamite movie. They'd be like, you're too weird.
I also don't want to see your asshole.
Yeah. No blue dart. No blue dart. So you talk about Nephi. Who's your favorite prophet in the Book of Mormon? You talk about that, and then one other subject you finally have is blue darts.
He's trying to cut loose, you dick. He's trying to bond with you.
He was the worst. Anyway, let's check to see if the whole.
Oh, Starbase doesn't know what a blue dart is. It's when you hold a lighter up to your butthole and you fart
on
it.
fire. And he sat there on the bed, and of course, on the mission, it's just you and the other guy in the bedroom, there yourself, about to go to bed. I'm sitting there, not even giving him a Relief Society laugh at all. I'm like, I'm not playing into this. I'm just staring at him. He's like, wow, blue dart. Just like, Jesus, dude. And then we go to bed, and then we wake up the next morning. The full poker table's here. We got Troy Levitt starting off first every time. Jonah Barnes is the poster boy for Dunning-Kruger. Especially enjoyed his insight that in his expert estimation, the Adam God theory must have been just anti-Mormon lies invented in the 1940s.
Well, and it's been debunked for like 6,000 years at this point, hasn't it?
It's a trope. It's an anti-Semitic Mormon trope. Anti-Semitic Mormon. Anti-Semitic Mormon. They got to make that sound more like a anti-Semitic Mormon trope. Oh God, the amount of sexy on screen right now. Oh yeah. Well, with Jared's picture. No, I think that was from our picture earlier. People who can't use turn signals also deserve to. What was your thing? Be sterilized. Just seeing Troy's comment about Jonah's Adam God theory, just Mormon apologists doing a deconstruction retelling. Absolutely. It's just showing how you can mess with the language. We got into a whole thing over in the Longhouse with Risto talking about death of the author type stuff and how you can reevaluate stuff as the interpreter. Silly stuff. Salad Dodgers, or those are the fat people. Ozempic challenge. Salad Dodgers. From Charles Wagner. As a kid, we always used to got TCBY when flying into Salt Lake. Make Adam God again. It's been a long way down. It's time to relax with a little porch time. Yeah, Steve's in the house. I think that's the full poker table filled up. We can deal him out. There's Risto with some monster down there, or maybe that's a fart puffer emoji. Oh, he's got a blue dart. It's a blue dart. A blue dart when you fart into a lighter and it makes a little blue thing with a blue dart beneath it. Okay, and that's how I spent my missionary nights.
Gosh, turn signals. There's a guy. Like when I go to work, I'm basically, I guess I have the same commute roughly, or at least for the beginning, of some asshole because I see him most mornings. And as I'm getting on the freeway, he goes 15 miles over the limit and weaves in and out of traffic. And like, it's funny because like he will signal briefly as he, is very illegally cutting in and out in front of people. I'm like, dude, the signal is not helping. Like I think he thinks that it's like, no, it's cool. I'm signaling. It's cool. I'm signaling. Like, no, it's not helping, asshole. Like, you're a dangerous asshole. Fucking knock it off. But there's nothing you can do with him but sterilize him.
The other thing is, like, nowadays I don't trust people's signals either.
Oh no.
Like I'm coming off from a left turn from this place out from work, and I see people signaling right, and if I trust it, there'd have been like at least 10 times I would have died.
Yeah, I've never trusted that. And 15 over the speed limit. I don't think I've ever been on an interstate in Salt Lake where I've gone less than 15, but I'm still getting past like I'm standing still.
Yeah, Utah County is particularly bad with that, I notice.
Idaho, like, we all make fun of Utah drivers for being bad, and they're not really bad on the interstate. They don't bother me that much. It's on they do stuff like that, but it's in town. What the fuck? You know how many times I've been cut off by a guy doing a U-turn?
Oh, yeah.
And they drive like fucking idiots. In Idaho, they just, worst thing they do, and they suck at roundabouts, but also we tend to get in the fast lane and just fucking stay there forever, going like under the speed limit. I saw several dudes when we're on our way to Utah, we're still in Idaho, going in the fast lane, going slow, and then like we finally get around the semi and he stays there, and like 5 of us pass him in the slow lane, and he still doesn't get over. I'm like, you got to be embarrassed. Like
that's Utah, man. I mean, I drive straight freeway to work every day for half an hour, and straight slow guys in the left lane every single time.
Did you see the new rules? There's new rules about the canyon.
What?
So in the past where like if it starts snowing, they require chains.
Yeah.
Now, 24 hours before the snow starts, they're going to be checking people for chains.
Oh,
or
geez.
something like that.
Well, that's
know,
probably
I mean,
good
it's
because a bunch of people get halfway up it and get stuck because they were being stupid.
I think that's exactly what they're trying to stop.
Yeah, I've got a schedule. I went and scheduled to get my snow tires rotated. Could not find anywhere that's open till mid-December. So I hope it doesn't snow before then. Come on, global warming! Come on!
Not even Victor's?
Nothing. I couldn't find anything. They were all like booked out entirely. Anyway, Charles says the influx of people from shithole countries with no traffic laws is the real clash of civilizations. Racist. No, just kidding. Yeah, that is definitely problems going up that mountain every day. Anyway, a meme. Let's just poke through these things. A meme. Every legend has a weakness. Samson cut his hair. Achilles shot in the Achilles. My testimony. God calling a French guy as an apostle. The shutdown the shutdown stopped, and now we got people back on the EBTs, and the Republicans cheering that we can dump $100 million back into EBT, and the isn't that like so weird? The Democrats are tantruming about that they caved so people could get their food.
It is
again.
funny,
But then the Republicans who are supposed to be the other side of that are cheering and partying like, hooray, we got our socialized food back.
It is hilarious hearing a bunch of Republicans be like, you guys don't want poor people to eat? Like, okay, shut up. Like,
and then the Democrats
I understand this is the fucking weapon you got to use, but have a little bit of self-awareness.
And then the Democrats, how dare you give it back to them? This is a cave. You caved. Weird stuff. Nancy Pelosi is retiring. Look at that return on investment. 16,930%. She is smart. Smart lady. I remember Kyle Dunnigan's things. She had her like those skeleton's arms, like, my stonks are going up. I gotta go get my stonks. Nancy Pelosi prepares for sad future of outsider trading. Like, honestly, like, what do we were arguing last week? Do Democrats actually reject her? Because I mean, they're so good at just defending their own constantly. Like, do they? There honestly has to be some hate entirely from that side for her too.
There's gotta be, yeah. Well, like if they could elect somebody more progressive, they would. It's kind of like your more libertarian type guys. If you could elect Rand Paul president or Ted Cruz, you would definitely elect Rand Paul, but he's like never gonna be the option.
Yeah, well, so do you know who the most likely replacement is for her?
Oh, I saw it earlier.
Ooh, gotta be some Bay Area doink.
It's that Wiener dude. You saw a Wiener dude. You saw a video with that Wiener dude this week. Remember that video this week? It had to do with where is it? I thought it was down at the bottom. Had to do with the black lesbian lady being upset about homosexuals in the getting in the bathrooms. That lady freaked out. I don't know if you saw the initial video. She freaked out that a man with a weenus was in her bathroom, and then she went and confronted this dude. Let me see if I pull it here. I think I can.
That video was retarded because she's right. Like, you shouldn't let males into the women's locker room, but also, like, when just in the middle of it, she starts screaming, "I'm black."
Yeah.
Can I please ask you a question? Because I'm here to do that. Yeah. Okay.
Can you hear it? It's kind of quiet.
As a lesbian woman who was attacked in a woman's locker room,
so this guy is who's taking Pelosi's place.
Self-identifying trans with a documented history of domestic violence, I'm deeply concerned about women's safety in female-owned spaces. What would you say to women who are seeking assurance that their
he's doing the leg cross from Corolla. He's got the socks and the leg cross.
The deep cross.
The deep cross and the fancy socks. He's making sure she sees it.
Jesus.
Please tell me.
Yeah. So we want, everyone to be safe. And we also know that
we want everyone to be safe.
Trans people, both men and women, who are men and women. And so, so if you're trans women or women.
Senator, you've done great things with the bills you've passed with the housing. I've read a lot of your bills.
Bet you haven't.
There are bills that need to be opened up, and I'm telling you now, millions of women across America are being harassed and sexually assaulted in locker rooms. I'm a lesbian black woman. I'm not transphobic. I'm not homophobic, and I do respect a lot of things.
The thing is, like, people criticize her for bringing that stuff up, but that is how you talk to leftists. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I know, but we're so brain rotted. I hate it. I never want to see it again. We got to bring up identity characteristics on things that have. The only part of your identity that has anything to do with this question is that you're a female. She started off as, I'm a lesbian woman. And I'm like, okay, like, would this change if you were a straight woman? And then he says something retarded to hers. I'm black. Anyone black, he ain't gonna tell me what to do. Would you listen to him? Like, would you agree with them if they're black? Or like, no, he's actually right about this. Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. Yes, let males.
But in that hierarchy over there, I'm actually kind of surprised that the trans people still trump that. You know?
Yeah, I know.
I also know that trans women are also brutalized in this country. So women and
By who?
cisgender women are brutalized in this country.
Black lesbians. It's vampires versus werewolves.
I am leaving because you know what?
No, it's something
But this thing's with the
I
trans.
want that to be the new comic book series of black lesbians versus trans men. And they're just in eternal war with each other.
All right, don't let them use our blackness and our civil rights as a reason to pass bid laws for children to transform. It's wrong. My sister's in jail. She can't get free tampons herself. But she can get free
I like that. Just like, oh, by the way, my sister's in jail. Like,
I do love the turfs that just do not give a shit. You know what I mean? There's something about them I like, you know. But
I know. I get it. I do. She's funny, but my sister's in jail. She ain't getting no tampons.
Anyway, did you hear about the guy that she was complaining about?
no.
Number one, he showed up at 4 different places following her around to go in the bathroom after her. So he is harassing her. But secondly, he has a history of domestic violence with his ex-wife.
No
And when he transitioned, he took his ex-wife's name.
Oh, yeah.
Not mental illness at all, fellers. You know.
That's fucked.
Yeah. Back in the day, we had these coins called pennies, and they were worth a cent. In 50 years, nobody's gonna believe it.
What was Flip's quote? The pennies are the east wing of hard currency.
Yeah, no, I just don't, like, God, my brains. Just imagining like the Democrats would bring back pennies out of pure spite.
Yeah,
You're
destroying history.
Yeah.
So are the copper mines going down? Because
You know why he decided to get rid of the penny, right? Because it's the one with the Lincoln on it. The guy.
Racism.
That's about $5
We
bills.
would be
are gonna
such
next.
better. Like, I already did the gender theory for fart fetish, and now you're here doing the critical race theory for the pennies. Like, we could just do this stuff, man.
They're gonna get rid of $5 bills. We're gonna have $4 bills, 1s, 4s, and 10s.
Yay. One of Corolla's jokes for rich man, poor man, you know, his thing of rich man, poor man, things that only rich men and poor men do. Nobody in the middle class does. Like, one of them is like shower outside. Only rich people shower outside and only poor people shower outside, stuff like that. One of his is, you know what the going rate of copper is. 50 years.
They say I bought a truck one time, like this shitty beater truck, when I was a poor, broke college kid, and like I drove it around for a little bit, made sure it worked, and then I bought it from him. And then I drive it home after he hands me the title, and there was a shit ton of snow in the bed because it was, it was winter. And then because I didn't need to put anything in the bed, so like a month later, the snow melted, and there was just a shit ton of copper wiring in the back.
Oh, man.
And the snow was covered up. I was like, oh, fuck.
One of his rich men, poor men is you drive a car and the company that makes the car is no longer in business.
Yeah.
Christopher says, nickel for your thoughts. And Queso Supremo says, elementary teachers right now are seething. How will kids learn to count money?
I've got a
They can
Richmond-
count their 50-year mortgages, man. They just have to learn like amortization rate, 15-year car loans.
I've got a rich man, poor man one. You put the shopping cart away.
Oh yeah, that is probably true.
Wait, no. You don't put the shopping cart away is what I meant to say.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Well, one of
Yeah,
his
no,
was if you
but-
go into if you go into any sort of retail store, somebody runs up to you and says, "Was there something I could help you with?" Yeah. Anyway, the tariffs are probably gonna get knocked down. Robert Barnes says it's gonna be 9-0, and he says not because there weren't initially ideas that totally were within his realm, way over it, and give all sorts of different reasons for it that weren't constitutional reasons to do it, stuff that should go to the Congress to do. And so then because he got out over his skis with that, it'll all probably get knocked down. And in the meantime, I think the reason he's saying I'll give everybody $2,000 checks is because he knows it's going to get knocked down, so he wants to muddy the waters with it. Kind of a little bit of how like Biden did stuff about trying to mandate a vaccine thing and get everybody get their vaccines before it actually gets struck down. Like there's so much stuff that they try to make hay before a thing gets struck down. But I think the tariffs are going away. They could have done it, but he got out over his skis and did it badly.
Yeah, like I'm fine with it in principle. I know there's going to be a monkey paw aspect to it, but
The $2,000.
oh no,
I think that's a stupid idea. Like even if he had the $2,000 claiming that they made that money off the tariffs, which they haven't yet,
no.
it should just go to the debt, shouldn't it? Like it's, I think they had this thing here. I worry that what you heard was send me a $2,000 stimmy check. What I requested was abolish the IRS. Steve says now it's going to skyrocket value. Casey Supremo says my boy Gorsuch will save the day. Yeah, those tariffs. There was some of that stuff where economically, like there was an argument for it, but listen to Robert Barnes. It says like the way he started like wielding it politically, which a lot of people used to criticize him when he would kind of go around saying like it'll make us money, it'll make us money, it'll make us money. But that was the messaging he was supposed to use. That was the bluff he was supposed to be using. You know what I mean? And then when he started like using it to like sanction for wars and all that sorts of stuff and to punish, that's where he got out over his skis and it's gonna get knocked down. He's gonna go away. So so much for that shit. Maybe someone will stay, but like the way they were questioning, it's all going down.
I mean, I preferred it for negotiation tactics. It works pretty fucking well for that.
Yeah, that's the way it should be used. It should be opposite, like what's constitutional. Like, shut the heck up, China, or we'll do this to you. Like that would be the better reason. Food stamps get cut. DoorDash stocks drop by 30%. This one blew our minds, and then you researched it to see that it was all true. So I guess they're back in business.
Have you
That's
seen?
I had to check, and it was like, yeah, of course, it turns out to be true.
Oh, dude, I watched.
So, like, I was actually like, it's one of those times where I'm like, I wish I had money to invest because, like, I know that the shutdown is on its way out. If I invest in DoorDash right now, it'll probably go up by 30% or whatever in the next week. But
you heard of Anthony Cumia's? He's got like this thing called N-word vesting, which is he invests in stuff like if somebody like gets in trouble for like saying something that's racist or something like that, or this sort of EBT thing goes down, so he invests and he's like, it'll get knocked down for a little bit, but it's going to come back strong, you know, on the other end of that stuff. So that's the time that you invest in that thing. You know?
Well, did you see Crowder had a whole show today where they did their EBT or their Snap Feast? They found out that you can like order some things on Amazon for like using Snap.
Wow.
Like you got to look to the Snap eligible thing, and they didn't get a Snap card, but they only ordered things that were like Snap eligible. And there was like one of them was like caviar that was $70 a pound or something like that.
Oh my god!
It was just insane shit.
That's amazing.
Casey Supremo says very true. Undermines his legal arguments across almost all of his policy goals. Yep. Christopher says if you get a stimmy, just put it in the Tesla for Apple for NVIDIA or BTC and leave it there for a while. Yeah, that might be a good idea.
That was the first thing I said when I saw somebody like he wants to do the 2,000 stimulant from the money that we've definitely made from the tariffs. I was just like, maybe you could just throw it in our debt. We got a lot of that, and nobody seems very worried about it.
So he had I mean, the reason I'm just kind of starting just set the tone for the whole day is stuff's not looking great for Trump right now. It's been a downer month, man, and maybe even just a week it's kind of gone around. But it's in the end of all things, so far what's gone good, he stopped the border, and we've got probably a lot less censorship, and that's about it.
Yeah.
He did did deal a death blow to woke shit, and he did
Which
it's
is
not gone,
censorship.
but yeah, and then he was great with the border shit.
Yeah, I think that's about it. That might be all we get. And then at the same time, any amount of time that the other side's not just continually marching through their institutions, I guess is a wrench in that. But that's about it. But most of the other stuff's not looking great. So he goes in and he gives that interview this week saying, bring 600,000 Chinese students, bring back H-1Bs, and all that sort of stuff, pissing off his base, of course. And so that I got more later on people complaining about the H-1Bs because it all becomes part of the endless war going on about the anti-Semitisms and the racisms and all that stuff. But that that interview with Ingram, did you watch highlights of that interview?
Yeah.
Charles says we're trading censorship for surveillance. Yeah, that could be true too, 100%. Tut looks like AOC. I don't know what. Stuff's not going great in that realm. But Candace is getting it done. I made this joke. This is Candace's list that she actually put out of TPUSA verified lies. The amazing, heroic, magnificent Mikey McCoy had blood all over him. Charlie was a committed evangelical who only liked Catholic architecture. That's the thing I was talking with Risto earlier. She claims that Charlie was flirting with Catholicism and all that stuff.
Yeah. So hang on.
Candace is Catholic?
Yeah.
What are you saying?
She got converted when she got married to the Brit.
So it has been a verified lie that Mikey McCoy had blood all over him? I don't understand.
Just like, I mean, I guess after the shot when he went calling on the phone or something, he supposedly had blood all over him and he was heroic or something like that. Charlie's next stop to 30.
Okay, come on. Fuck off.
Charlie's next stop to 30-06 bullet. Charlie never blinked at his support for Israel. The magnificent Mikey McCoy called his father first. That's the kid who walked off calling on the phone right after he shot. Terrell Audiovisual was told to remove the cameras by police. Terrell moved the SD cards because people were stealing hats. Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk never had any bad blood between them. That's one of the things she's brought out, and I guess that's kind of maybe important for later, that she did bring out some receipts that Charlie Charlie was mad at Ben for strong arming him behind the scenes and kind of had a rivalry going with him, which I think is kind of a going theme with Ben Shapiro, which might come up when we start talking about him, or just might be worth saying, is that when he's avoiding debates and all that stuff and kind of pushing this stuff around, I sometimes wonder if half he doesn't want brought up in debates is some behind the scenes strong arming more than anything to do with Israel that he's done in the past.
I'm sure he does that. A lot of this stuff I don't care about, right?
No, what are you talking about? It talks about the murder of Charlie Kirk coming from TPSUA.
Well, it talks about Mikey McCoy twice. I don't care if he claimed to be a hero but wasn't. You know.
Charlie establishing a Doge, which is basically auditing, was not unusual. Turning Point was financially audited the company every year since last inception. Mikey McCoy was a hero that day. She brings up all the Mikey McCoy stuff because she thinks they're half pushing him to be the successor. And then she also thinks another guy was half being pushed to be successor. And she also thinks Erica's half being pushed to be successor. Anyway, that's her TPUSA verified lies. Anyway, I just took that to make this meme. TPUSA verified lies. Brigham Young taught Adam Godberry. Which enough just for the overview of politics right now. Let's talk to Adam Godberry.
Yeah.
So we all just bored out of the video. So you got nothing to say?
Oh, did you not watch it?
No, I watched the whole thing. And I did have like those things where you're like, oh, I'm half not paying attention. So maybe I'm not going to repeat this right, but I half am. So I'm going to try to repeat it right. Some of it was just like he found little stuff, like something in the past used to say our between God and Adam, our father, or Adam or father.
Well,
Something
I
like
know
that.
how apologists get with really dumb words. I brought it up before, but the thing that brought Don Bradley back to the church is the most retarded thing I've ever heard. Because it was that whole thing where Oliver Cowdery called the Fanny Alger getting caught in the barn with Joseph thing a dirty, nasty, filthy affair. And they found the original journal that came from that. And what it actually said was dirty, nasty, filthy scrope. And his son scribbled that out and wrote affair because scrope was more of a crude word and he didn't want people to think his dad said a crude word. And I was like, and that's what reconverted you, Don Bradley? That's like he's like, hey, so he wasn't saying it was an affair. Like, look, I didn't even think he was saying affair as in like, I think he would have said, I don't know. I took affair to mean like thing happening, right? So
Yeah.
if he had gone in there and Joseph was, I don't know, like eating a cat alive or something, he would have called it a dirty, nasty, filthy affair. But either way, like what was dirty and nasty and filthy about it? You're kind of ignoring that. He's in there with the maid, the 16-year-old maid, dirty, nasty, filthy. Were they cleaning cow shit or something? Was that what was happening? It sounds like they were banging. So I understand when they do the word thing, like this changes everything.
So that concept right there, and the Midnight Mormons or the Word Radio guys do that so often. And that stuff drives me nuts. Like, whoa, you found the thing. You found the secret thing. Just like we're waiting for Candace to find the secret thing.
Anti-Mormons are coping so hard right now.
I just don't believe in finding the secret things. Like, the secret thing's not going to be found. I think what you guys have value in is keeping the same old thing exactly how it was. And that's impressive. That's the only thing that's impressive nowadays, is keeping things the same. That's the only thing that amazes me, because nobody pulls that off. It's stuff like this. So Case of Supreme Last Step, is it worth watching? It's
No.
So I can't regurgitate everything. One of them was like, in one of these sentences in the original, it said or instead of our, and then they took out or, but then RFM and Bill Real pointed out that they put that back in 81. So I don't know what you're talking about. It is in the official canon again. And then the other stuff is stuff like this in the highlight there. He is him, Adam, semicolon, Michael, semicolon, the ancient days. He is the father. He has, or he is father, Adam, comma, Michael, comma, the ancient days, has he the father. So I can't regurgitate it all, but what it basically comes down to is this. He pulled out like one or two examples, because they said all of the King Follett discourses where this stuff came out of was all given verbally, and somebody else was writing it down. And so if the other person writing it down, the punctuation, you could basically get wild with that punctuation yourself and kind of repunctuate it however you want to make it sound like, well, Brigham never once taught ever that Adam was God. And if you rearrange, and they do the thing that you've seen Candace kind of do sometimes, where it's like, could it be this? So, and then the next sentence. So now that we know that it's this, you know, and then it's just there and in. And not only now that we know that it's this, and they've been lying to you, you know, and
well, the weird part about the whole Adam God theory thing would be if you're trying to claim that Adam is like God the Father, then what do you really make of the Book of Abraham, the creation story, like from the temple, where you have all three of them in the same room? You have God, Jesus, and Michael, and God's like, Michael, Jesus, go do this shit, and they go and do it.
Yeah. So I think it was Starbase up there mentioned that they obviously just they said that they could answer every single one of the things in the discourses, but they only did one example, right? They said they'd get to more of them later.
Risto said Trinity proved.
But the thing is, they completely overlooked all the other evidences, and RFM and Bill Real just smelled the fish in the water, stopped the presses, smelled the blood in the water, as the sharks, I guess. Stop the presses. And I think anytime those guys get to like go back to, oh boy, it's kind of like Ghostbusters. We got one. Like, we can suddenly go back to just debunking stuff doctrinally again. We don't have to like make up all these other episodes. We get to go back and do this one again. King, you know, Adam King. And they had 233 other quotes that all just completely
We found a bones of a horse like animal in southeastern or northeastern Canada from 40,000 years ago. This changes everything.
Yeah, so his argument is that they gave God the title Adam, the nickname Adam. Adam's a nickname, and it's the name that you give to any first creature on any sort of planet, and the Elohim versus Adam, all that sort of stuff. So Adam, just if you rearrange those commas and stuff, you can always make it so that any time that they were doing the Adam, they were calling God by his nickname at that moment. And
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of names. I guess it
Yeah.
makes sense.
So the other problem beyond that is the whole thing supposedly started from, I think it was Starbase who brought it up, something that was called like the Sermon at the Veil. You know, I can't.
Oh, the lecture at the Veil.
Yeah, the lecture at the Veil. I'm not the. I don't know if you know the exact details. We're not the Mormonism Live. It's just reviewing weirdness online. But there was something from the Wilford Woodruff Journal that he gave an entire lecture at the Veil, and it was like a half-hour long lecture where he presented the Adam God theory, and it was distressing and upsetting to a bunch of people. Why would it be distressing and upsetting if it was just finding out that the nickname of God was Adam? You know,
Mormon Xenu story.
Yeah, maybe he was like, on my planet when I was a dude, my name was Adam, so I'm gonna name you after me.
So they're gonna. It's not just last night. They went extra long last night, and they said they're gonna do a 3-parter, and the 3-parter is just the avalanche of other evidences.
Just like everybody.
So you're gonna have 9 hours of continuous evidence, and most of it is all not just that they had all the other quotes and all these other things of that were written down and said, and even proof that those quotes and things weren't just written down, like that Brigham Young had editorial review afterwards of them. But then on top of that, all these other stories of converts and other people having long sagas of being stressed out about not being able to accept the concept that Adam is God and that sort of deal. So a bunch of other people reported that this person really, really struggled. And Orson Pratt got demoted in the presidency with the 12 apostles because he said he would not accept the Adam God theory. And like there's just multitudes of stories about it, about people struggling with it, people not dealing with it, people talking about it, quotes about it. So just beyond just like the doctrinal quotes, there's stories after stories after stories of people stressing out that doesn't make sense, you know.
Yeah.
Well, no, because if you change the comma to a period in one talk, then I mean, do they believe themselves? Like,
I don't know. Maybe just trying to find like a rock and roll episode to sound cool, but I mean, there is all the talk, and everybody's like already onto the thing of the way stuff happens with apologetics. Is like now it's like anybody who says different, it's an old anti-Mormon trope. Like Adam got there, that's an anti-Mormon trope. Was this just the antis who just created this from 1940 to 1910? We've been believing the tropes of antis this whole time, and I think that also plays into the other stuff later. Just the whole concept of, because you can just announce the word trope at the top of your lungs, that's a thing that nobody could ever say, even if they have no idea that they've accidentally stepped foot into a trope. You know, I've heard there's an Adam God there. You've stepped foot in a trope. You know, yeah, it was perplexing. It was perplexing that they'd maybe they just need content, but
Troy had one of my favorite comments. I was looking for it, and I just found it. There's this guy in Thoughtful Saints. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's really long. But he's like, all right, I like Jonah Barnes as a personality entertainer. He's enthusiastic, funny, charismatic, and thought-provoking. I have nothing against the man, and this episode won't make me do a 180. Nobody bats 1,000. I'm still a casual fan. His work with Gathering Israel Project is really great, blah, 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 blah. He's a good man. My favorite Jonah Barnes is the Jonah Barnes that proposes outside-the-box thinking. Anyway, he says all these nice things and goes on to say he's like really off base with this Adam God thing. But he's talking about how great he is as an entertainer and a great dude he is. And Troy just comments, totally agree. Jonah is a clown whose performance sometimes elicits a chuckle.
It's like I have the same question for them that I have about like Candace Owens. Like, wait, do you believe this stuff, or is it just a shtick? Because it's very hard to tell. Because like it's absolutely absurd the stuff that you're saying, but you seem sincere.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those things of like, why are you trying to take this on like that? And RFM and Bill were giving him like a wide berth, like maybe he's just ignorant to all this other stuff. But I don't believe that. Like he acts like he's read and done all sorts of stuff, so he has to know the infinity other things. And maybe he was planning on doing a 75-part series, dressing them one by one by one by one by one. But Starbase Code says I like Jonah. I'm fine with Jonah too. I just don't get why he bites this one off. I haven't had we've made fun of him before, just in the sense of I think he's like Huell Hauser drawing Adam Carolla things again. Adam Carolla talks about this old PBS host named Huell Hauser, whose entire job was to go around California to very boring sites like old mills and finding some plaque at the old mill and acting like it was the most exciting thing in the world. Like, oh, wow, golly, look at this old mill plaque. This is the greatest ever. Oh, gee whiz. And Dana Gould would do a really good impersonation of him. I've tried to pull up Dana Gould's impersonation of him just to put it up next to look up Dana Gould doing Huell Hauser on YouTube, and that's Jonah to me. He's there to try to say, "Hey kids, look at this plaque on this old thing. Isn't that exciting?" And to me, there's something Mr. Rogersy about it. Like you don't dislike Huell Hauser, but at the same time, part of me is kind of like, you are really trying to make things exciting. That's the offense to me.
Here's an angle.
I got to put water in my dog's thing.
Okay. Here's an angle of this that nobody's thought about, because we got Risto and Starbase both saying Jonah seems like a nice guy. He probably is. Starbase says, I like Jonah. Here's the deal. The reason you like Jonah is because he's always sitting next to Cardin. It's kind of like how you guys all like Chris, but if you ever hung out with him one-on-one, he's a real dick. The only reason that you guys like Chris is because he's always on this screen with me, because I get to be the Cardin of Porch Time. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding. I haven't watched enough to hate him that much. I just like clowning on him. He's kind of annoying to me.
Like if you put them all up, I mean, I would recognize Cardin and Kwaku. Like Cardin because he's the bombastic loudmouth, and Kwaku because he's black, and the rest of them are all the same people. I don't know. I couldn't tell you their names.
I would recognize Brad just because I just remember Morgan was still doing her channel.
Brad. I guess I know Brad.
I'm homies with Brad. We're cool. I help him with diet stuff on the side.
Brad seems like a nice.
Brad's a nice guy, but he's also Canadian, so ugh.
They all seem like nice guys, but like, I mean, as far as being like saying completely wacky, unreasonable nonsense, Brad is not that guy.
Yeah, like I'd be Cardin's neighbor. I'm sure he'd be a fine neighbor. It's just that every now and then you'd have to tell him, no, I'm not joining this MLM. But other than that, he'd be fine.
Dude, does he have a bug killing MLM?
I don't know. He just seems like the guy. No, he was doing, but that was Kara's big expose on him. Is that one time he was trying to sell this bug spray to a woman, this bug killer to a woman. He was trying to show her how not toxic he was, or not toxic the stuff was, by drinking some of it. I was like, oh, okay, sounds like a sales technique. I don't know. That's not the expose you think it is, Kara.
Let me see if I can find this for that Huell Hauser.
Yeah, yes.
And to come to the Larchmont Cleaners, not only does Lisa help me with what she sews on buttons that have popped off, she's
Been
bitten off by
holes in the
victims.
back of my pants. Here are my pants.
Okay.
They need to be cleaned.
Said that a few
Put them in the hamper.
Sure they do.
We got a computer now. It's where a computer.
Yeah, they just review. They watch his old clips of him going around trying to make stuff exciting in California.
There is a certain charm to a dude that's just like super into really boring things, but you can tell like
local neighborly things like that.
Like a guy just talking about like his, I don't know, his coin collection or whatever. But Kobe Colby Reddish called Jonah's academics weapons grade Dunning-Kruger. I found it perfect. I just haven't listened to him enough to know. Like, I'm sure he's says crazy shit. The shit I've heard has been kind of
Well, because he has a lot of episodes, and I don't care about that stuff enough to know enough about it to know about the Apocrypha stuff. So he calls himself the associate professor of the Apocrypha, and I cannot care about the Apocrypha at
I
all.
don't see. I care about it so little. I don't even know what it is. What is the Apocrypha?
Books that weren't included in like the Bible.
Oh, so just non-canon Bible, like the Maccabees or whatever.
Yep.
Okay.
There's all kinds of crazy stuff in the Apocrypha. Some of it's really fascinating. Some of it's kind of weird. They know a lot about it if they watch what's that guy called? Bart Ehrman, but they insist that Bart Ehrman is trying to deconvert people, which is patently untrue. But he does a lot of fascinating stuff about the Apocrypha.
See, I didn't watch. You're the first one that told me Bart Ehrman's cool, because I didn't watch any of them until like he got poison in my mind because Dan McClellan kept quoting him, and I was like, he must be a fucking idiot. and then I asked you about it. You're like, no, he's actually pretty good.
I really like it, Bart Ehrman. Like, I mean, again, like I think it's fascinating. Oh, damn it, I'd slip in my mind right now. But like he just did like a debate with another like top high, world level New Testament scholar, Mark Goodacre. And it was fascinating to me because like there are guys that like they were debating about like whether or not John used the synoptics as a source, and like so it's like this tiny minutia within the New Testament community, but it was a thing that like they disagree with, but like they are totally friendly. Like nobody's ego is completely wrapped up in this. Like they just kind of both made their cases, and it's like it was almost refreshing because it's like the dead opposite of like the way Ward Radio does apologetics, where like they have their whole lives wrapped up in being right about this stuff, but like Bart Ehrman always says, it's like I don't like he believes in the Q source, but if they found something tomorrow that disproved it, like okay, like it's just an opinion. It's not my life.
Sure.
But also like with the mythicists. I know because this rang a bell in my mind because there's something I wanted to mention because I heard him talking about it. But like, I know I've mentioned it before also that like my favorite of all the Bible scholars is Bob Price. And part of it is because like Bob Price is, he's very radical, but he states he's like now this is my idea and it's radical. Like he doesn't pretend like his ideas aren't radical when he has them, But he's like a mythicist. He thinks that it's more likely than not that there was no historical Jesus. And like he and Bart have had debates about this stuff, but they complement each other constantly. Like
Bart thinks that there was a real Jesus.
Yeah, Bart is very much like, no, there was a Jesus, guys. Come on. But like you said cool to each other.
You said that you fall more under the Jesus mythicism camp.
I mean, it's funny. Yeah, although I mean, like I kind of waffle back and forth. There's another, because it's one of those things where it's like ultimately it doesn't really change anything. Like I mean, because there's a thing. There's at the same time there's the whole question of was there historical Jesus. The same thing. There's people who say there was no historical Muhammad. Like there's all kinds of issues with the establishing historical Muhammad.
This always reminds me of the. Sorry, you can finish.
I don't know. I'm kind of rambling anyway, but like, because part of the problem is, I don't know. It's hard to put it all into words, but something that I really like that Bob Price said about it. Like one of my favorite ways that he ever summarized the question of was there historical Jesus is there may have been a historical Jesus, but there isn't anymore. Which is basically like the record is gone, like it's just too hard to tell because all of our sources are so late and so fragmentary and obviously ahistorical, and so it's like maybe something will pop up, and that's the other thing that Bob Price says all the time. Like if because they're always digging up scraps of writings and stuff out of garbage dumps in Egypt, and if they find the thing, like, because people have asked him, like, what would convince you, and he always references, like, they have letters from, like, Roman businessmen where they're, like, writing a letter home, and they're like, Dear Sally, how are the kids? I was just in Jerusalem where there was a guy preaching. His name was Bob the Preacher, and it's like, okay, we just established Bob the Preacher as a historical character, and he always says that, like, if they had that for Jesus, like, okay, like, I was in Jerusalem, and
Troy's trying to missionary you. You're talking about this, and he goes, "This is why we need the Book of Mormon. It's another testament of Jesus Christ. Would you like to know more?" And Risto proved you wrong. Actually, he said, "I've actually met tons of Mohammeds." Risto's probably got like 18 Mohammeds in his neighborhood.
That's right.
Muhammad Fateh. Well, I don't know what a Somali name is, last name. Just backing up, Risa says that he likes Jonah. He thinks it's kind of more acting than Dunning-Kruger. I tend to agree with that too. I think he knew what he was skipping to make this case, which could be deceptive or something, but maybe it makes for better casting, better content, or something like that.
Yeah, no, Risto was talking about Brad when he said he's acting. Risto.
Oh, I thought he was talking about Jonah because he was saying he was answering the Dunning-Kruger thing.
No, he just clarified. He's talking about Brad. He said he had his run-ins with Brad. I'm not sure about the niceness thing. I think he's acting. That's what.
Oh, you think the acting is the
nice?
Yeah, but he was saying I don't think that Jonah's Dunning-Kruger. I think he is. Oh. And then the acting is the thing that
like Jonah and Brad. You just said you had your run-ins with him, Risto. Make up your mind.
I know that he's had his run-ins with Brad just over.
No, I remember that.
Yeah.
No, this whole thing. Anytime they talk about it, it reminds me of the what is it? Like these groups I'm in where they'll pit one fictional character against another, or like an animal against another, and you've got, like, as Flip described, your Bart Ehrmans who are pretty objective about it. They have got their favorite animals and fictional characters, obviously, but they're not going to be like, my hyena could take your polar bear or whatever, And I just saw one today where this guy's like, grizzly bear versus lion, and we were all like, it's a grizzly. It's not even remotely close. Like, he might hurt the bear a little bit, and like half the guys in there like, dude, I really like lions. That's my favorite animal, but grizzly bear fucks him up. And I'm like, dude, there's like 4 land animals that could kill a grizzly bear, and 2 of them are other bears. And they do the same thing with superheroes, and it makes more sense with superheroes because you get into the realm of the fictional, because they'll be like Goku versus Superman, and it's Superman. Superman wins. I read up on it. Superman always beats Goku, and I watched more Goku than I watched of Superman. One Punch Man. I haven't watched that much of it, but anytime he's brought up, I always just say that he wins, no matter who it is, because that's his whole thing. He just punches them once, and
you got to watch just season 1 is all you got to watch. It's only like 9 episodes. It's I've watched it like
season
3
1.
times.
I liked it a lot. I want to finish it actually. But
I heard that they're just barely coming out with season 3 right now. It's like 10 years later. Season 2 came out like 6 years ago, and everybody hated it because it just didn't focus on One Punch Man. It focused on all the secondary characters. And I've never really gotten through it. But One Punch Man season 1, I love it so much. I watch it again and again.
That first episode when, like, he's the most powerful superhero and he's pissed off because his coupons are going to expire soon. And he's pissed off because he can never find somebody that he can't beat in one punch, and he wants a real challenge. And somebody comes to train under him. They're like, teach me your secret. Teach me what you did. And he just goes, all right, are you ready?
I'll tell you.
100
you can't pass this on. This is dangerous. This is dangerous, and anybody could use it to get here.
What is it, like 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and running a mile?
100 sit-ups every day. 50 squats every day. 5 miles every day. And here's the real factor. You can't miss. Not once. That's really, really hard. And they just sit there staring because it's all these other like way huge, buff, strong superheroes listening for the way to do it. He's like, that's just a regular workout program and it's mediocre. It's like mid-level. It's so funny. But I love that show because he really is just so powerful, and it doesn't go off that. I don't know if it does in later seasons, and it's so funny how they still make a story out of that.
But it's the point was that like the Ward Radio guys are like the fans that can't let their favorite character go. It's like their character is fucking Naruto or whatever. And they're like, could Naruto beat the Hulk? And they're like, here's why he totally could. Whereas the other Naruto fans are like, look, Naruto's my favorite, but there's no fucking way he could beat the Hulk. The Hulk has held the universe on his back because once you get into comics, the American comic characters almost always beat anime because American comics always run stupidly long. So there's always a version of every fucking comic book character that has got godlike. There's probably a version of fucking Hawkeye somewhere that could beat God. You know, it's retarded.
Yeah. Going back up, just missing some comments. Ryan was talking about Bruce Metzger, Ehrman's mentor, wrote about the best book out there on the Apocrypha. Catholic Orthodox Bibles have some of their canon. And he also said that his kid got baptized and he knows about Adam God and he just lets it go. It's that simple, which is probably just true, which I think is what the rest of the church mostly does. Historical Jesus, the guy who used to mow my lawn. Ryan says, I like you women on Ward Radio. Oh yeah, and I like all the Ward Radio guys. Cardin was really nice to me personally. He really was.
Sorry, go on.
No, I think the Amish could take the Scientologists.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that in that Facebook group, and I'll show you what they say.
Yeah,
but yeah, the Amish could take the Scientologists for sure.
Totally.
Unless Xenu's real.
Scientologists are willing to do evil things. Plus, the Amish are stuck with only equipment from the 90s, man.
The 1890s, maybe.
The 1890s, yeah. Yeah. Maybe Cain and the Three Nephites would be the most animated Mormon battle of all time. Yeah. 3 Nephites over Naruto.
They'll do biblical characters sometimes. I saw what was it? I think it was King David versus Samson, and everybody's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Samson stomps, no diff, man. That's difficulty. That's part of the lingo of the nerds. They say, what level diff? So Samson stomps, no diff. He killed 1,000 Philistines with the jawbone of an ass. Are you kidding me right now? He collapsed a building after he had already lost his powers. You fucking think David could do so? David's a badass in his own right, but come on. Against Samson, as long as there's not some Philistine minx in there to cut off his hair, he's got this in the bag, low diff.
Who'd win in a fight with the Midnight Mormons and all the ex-Mormons? Remember when Kwaku was calling for that fight with Forrest, and then Brad said that he would fight me in an event. Brad Whitbeck, the guy, said,
oh yeah, that would have been funny.
Would fight me. Cardin versus John DeLynn, that would be a good fight, man.
Cardin.
They're the same height, man. Yeah, I think Cardin probably wins.
It's mostly just an age thing. Yeah. Although I don't know how badly Cardin's cancer is affecting him, but I guess
that's true. Did you see the Candace interview where this lady was kind of a CNN lady, but I just put it in there because she fits the tropes of the stuff coming later on. Adam God denialism is for institutionally oriented Mormons. That polygamy denialism is for anti-institutionally oriented Mormons. Be a good mix of the orientation and reject both flavors of cope. Ward Radio usually typically represents the absolute worst of Mormon apologetics. That now includes them jumping backwards and forwards with mental gymnastics, trying to deconstruct and disprove one of the most unique and powerful Mormon doctrines in existence. Yeah, I saw a bunch of Mormons saying, hey, I actually still like that theory. I still roll with it, man. And that,
the two Adam theory is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
God the Adam and Son the Adam.
I'm skipping those last two, just not getting that. I saw Frankenstein this week and it was meh. It was okay. Now we get to the meme of the week. Have you ever watched something in real time, like in real time, right in that moment, saw the meme? Like, have you ever had that happen? Like, you remember like when David Silverman talked?
No, yeah.
I watched in real time when David Silverman talked to Bill O'Reilly about tides come in, tides go out, and he did that face. But we didn't know memes yet. I didn't know that was going to become a meme or something like that, because the David Silverman face meme of like, what?
Gary Johnson, what is Aleppo?
Oh, what is Aleppo? You knew in that moment it'd be a meme.
I was like,
Yeah.
uh-oh.
This
fucked.
one, I knew in the faces. Like, I knew in the faces right when I saw the clip that this was a meme.
Oh yeah, well the interviewer's face was ridiculous the whole time. It's so weird.
Yeah, I think there is. Sydney Sweeney stared down the devouring mother. This is how the longhouse must be abolished by the base females that lurk within them. We need women to beat it.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
That is just such an aesthetically like pleasing look on her face. Like I just love it. I don't want to like goon over Sydney Sweeney or anything. But fucking hell, that's just the exact look you give to somebody that asked you to apologize for a joke ad you did about your jeans. Like, of course she has good jeans. She's very pretty. And I guess she's talented. I don't know. I've only ever seen her in one movie, and it was god awful, but she wasn't bad in it.
I don't think I've seen her in anything.
I saw her in Madame Web, and that was one of the worst.
I have not seen that. I know there's the Euphoria thing. Have I seen her in anything else?
I only know who she was because RLM shit posting group for a long time was just posting Sydney Sweeney stuff, and I just like, oh, she's attractive chick du jour.
Well, no, I've seen all the White Lotus. She's in White Lotus.
Yeah, well, she's attractive, and she's not a bit because like Brie Larson is very attractive. She's very pretty. It's just hard to see her as being pretty after she's just like a bitch to all the fans. You know, she's such an asshole, and Sydney Sweeney never does that. I don't know. Like, there's a couple more that are like that. I can't remember who it was. One actress had a movie that really fucking bombed. Oh, it was what's her face from Ozark. She plays Ruth in Ozark.
A really, really, really good actress.
Yeah, she's really good. I loved her in that. I can't remember her name, but she was in the Fantastic Four. She was the Silver Surfer. And when they told her, yeah, it wasn't like it didn't totally bomb, but it bombed. It didn't make its money back. How do you feel about it? And the fans didn't really like it. She's like, well, you know, you win some, you lose some.
She's one of the Manson crew in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
She was very humble about it. She was like, yeah, I guess if the fans didn't like it, they didn't like it. And that's a bummer to me. And I'm like, oh my God, I know we've been in this thing for so long where when that happens, we are Den Mother style chastised by the people who are trying to make movies that we like and just keep not listening to us. I'm just so used to that now. I just thought that's what always happened. And I was like, oh, that's nice. You can do that. You can be like, you know what? I tried. I'm sorry.
I absolutely do not know the rest of her filmography. I did love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, though.
Did you watch Ozark?
The first season. She's not in it yet by then, right?
Yeah, she is.
I don't remember her.
Starbase Kolob says, do y'all have those old BOM Book of Mormon VHS cartoons?
Oh,
I'd seen some from some other kids' houses. I didn't have them.
The guy that taught me to play guitar that I'm playing with next week, his uncle produced those.
Dude,
wow.
That's my Mormon Forrest Gump. I've been in that guy's house.
My dad told me that those were a scam the other day. I was like, what do you mean? Because I was like, yeah, we never had the living scriptures. She's like, do you know how fucking expensive those were?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It was a weird deal where you had to buy a certain amount. You had to pay a certain amount every month to
like a subscription.
Eventually get all of them. And apparently it was a lot of money. I don't know. But I think that the animator on that actually went on to do Disney anime. Like he did The Emperor's New Groove.
Oh, wow. Back to this. Do we need to watch the video? We don't need to watch the video again. It was just this lady from, what is it, GQ or something like that? One of those magazines that like used to be for men or some sort of thing like that, was interviewing her and said, I'll give you the opportunity now to talk about your jeans ad where you talked about the having good jeans, which I don't know if that sounds so good. I mean, is that something you should be saying? Really? Did you want to take the time I wanted to give you? And a lot of people are saying ridiculous that she's saying she's giving this like A-list celebrity the platform to have a chance to apologize about it. And she just gave her that look and said, It was just a jeans ad, and no, if I had something to say, I would say it. I have,
That was the perfect.
I have my own platforms, which I guess
that was
ties
the
into
perfect
everything.
answer. It was actually very perfect. Because I would have berated the idea that I would have insulted the people who thought I would apologize. I'd have been a real dick and probably tanked my entire career because of it. But she's just like, I think when there's an issue that's important to me, people will hear it. I'm like, that's like taking the catty bitch archetype and flipping it on its head and using it for good.
I saw Rob Henderson just review it, and he said there's so much more going on talking between two women in this scenario than men just. I mean, I think it's kind of true if you're kind of like slightly on just the super male side, that I did not catch the undertones of things like this for years and years of my life, and I kind of had to be trained into understanding what was going on with those faces and that sort of stuff. I remember my ex mother-in-law was just the worst, and I grew up just not even understanding that type of thing. So she'd like come into your house and she's like, "Oh, I see. You're just okay with like having stuff out wherever you want and not having to clean it all the time. That's so great that you're able to just be like that." And I would just be like, "Thanks. Yeah, that's awesome. That is really cool of me." And I had no idea that she was reaming me in that den mother way. And it took me years to start picking up on that sort of thing. Point of view, you just gave me the opportunity to apologize, and it's Keira Knightley who laughed at people saying that she should say something about J.K. Rowling, and this one right here. This was the caption that you gave to it. "I hate that I'm a straight white female." You, and calling back to John DeLynne's, "Well, I hate that I'm a straight white male." I used to have that clip on standby.
Yeah.
Steve says nobody really knows much about Sydney Sweeney. They are mostly just assuming things because of the jeans ad and a few people around her with MAGA hats. Somebody said somewhere that she's registered Republican, and I don't know if that was true or not. At least they told Trump that. And Trump was like, "What do you think about the Sydney Sweeney ad?" And he goes, "I don't know anything about it." And they said, "She's a registered Republican." "Oh, so it's great. I love it. I love her. I love the ad. I love everything about it."
Yeah.
So
Just being silly Trump guy.
yeah. Millennial Smirk 2014 2025 died. Some people were saying that she looks like Jim Carrey in that face. Yeah. Imagine laboring in obscurity for your entire professional life until you score one big interview, after which you are internet famous for this. Anyway, the slop media tried to take the exact opposite with it. If you see this, I just kept clicking every time I saw it. These are things I just came across in the wild. And of course, the slop media 100% viewed it the exact opposite direction and tried to make a great big thing out of it.
Embarrassing. Oh, come on. Yeah, that was embarrassing.
Yeah, so they say it's embarrassing. Why Sydney Sweeney's response is disturbing. Sydney Sweeney's lost control of her stardom. And that Christie movie is kind of bombed. Although I've seen some people say that it came from a complete unknown studio, completely self-produced, completely everything. So if it's getting anything at all, it's not really a bomb. It was always very, very indie. They're trying to blame it on her whole entire reaction to this thing here. But I just clicked some listen what they're saying on TikTok about it.
Not enough people are talking about the fact that during the Sydney Sweeney.
Oh my god! Oh, peck hens. What are they? What are the bird hens?
The bird
hens. Oh, bird hens.
Fuck you, lady.
Yeah.
Not enough people are talking. Sorry, go on.
Chance to essentially clear the air and say whatever she wanted to say about the reaction to her controversial act. She literally says, "I'm more aware than people think that I am." And the ad speaks for itself. And
she did not literally say that.
When she
said the ad speaks for itself, but she said, "I am more aware."
Has something important that she wants to talk about, we will hear it. So you agree? You think you have good like, come on. White women will Euro step around the plot. And it's Sydney knows, okay? She knows. She knows who's in her corner. She knows what she's doing. She knows about the controversy of it. She knows why it was controversial, and she doesn't care. Any questions? Not enough people are.
Dude,
Why are you so stupid?
Yeah, I was just listening to Anthony Cumia. It's funny that she's like, oh, she's saying that white girls have good genes. Well, first off, no, she's not saying anything. It's a joke written by somebody else, and they're saying she specifically has good genes. But it's also funny because how many times have you heard a black woman try to sell really hard how beautiful black women are?
If I had $1 billion and I owned some kind of clothing company and I didn't care about anything, I would hire Honey Boo Boo to do the same ad. My jeans are fat.
that was I was listening to Anthony Cumia talk about something Michelle Obama said, and she gets up there. Black women are beautiful. Black women are powerful. And he brought up a good point. He's like, how many times do you hear that from any woman that isn't a black? How many times you heard a white woman say, white women are beautiful? Even any other like minority race.
Walsh covered that today too. He said it's like me coming up and you say I'm not attractive and you say, well, you're just uneducated. You got to read a book or two. If you read a book or two, you see I'm totally attractive.
This lady is like, oh, you're gonna say white women are beautiful. Okay, are you ever gonna go after the fucking thousands upon thousands of black women on Twitter or TikTok who have said today alone how beautiful black women are as a whole? Yeah. Sydney Sweeney is cooked. Oh my god, who is this fag?
What? Why are you prejudging the book?
This is an insane answer to an easy question.
The ad spoke for itself. You think the ad spoke for itself? Okay, and white people shouldn't joke about genetic superiority. So I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that specifically.
I think that when I have an issue that I want to speak about, people will hear.
So this is how you denounce white supremacy in one simple step. So about that joke regarding whites having superior genetics. Yeah, so that was actually pretty stupid.
There's a joke about her being hot.
When somebody lobs you the absolute easiest softball question of your life, what you don't do is dodge the question. What's that? Your new movie Christie's currently breaking records for worst box office opening weekend in film history? Are you somehow surprised that your base of genetically superior inbreds didn't go out to pay $15 to see a movie about a queer female boxer who struggled with domestic violence? On the film's opening weekend, Christie grossed only $1.3 million. Just for perspective, Hocus Pocus grossed $1.9 million in its opening weekend as a re-release in 2020. But it's okay, Sydney. You keep those great genes of yours because you're going to need them to get any more roles in the future.
Who is this guy?
Who is anybody on TikTok? This is just 2 of 40,000 of these. I picked 2 of 40,000.
So you probably already know this, but this interview is us just handing you positive PR on a silver platter. You just have to give very...
No, it wasn't.
This is like, that's
no,
such a
it
lie.
Was not.
Yeah. Like if she comes out, she's like, yes, I'm actually
catch her out.
I realize now that I was participating in Ubermensch white Nazi racism, and I'm very sorry. Like, as if they would let her go with that.
This
like,
is
they'd be like, okay, thanks, Sydney.
Let's say
like it was
100%.
Yeah.
Let's say that Sydney Sweeney. Let's say Sydney Sweeney is legitimately the far right white supremacist eugenicist that they're trying to claim that she is. Do you think she'd play a gay woman?
Yeah.
Like
maybe she did so she could purposely tank her movie and make it so it was a 5D chess, 5D white supremacist.
Yeah, it's a queer psyop.
White supremacist is what we're going to start calling.
Common sense, basic answers to some softball questions, and then we'll be done before lunch.
Basic softball questions like re-asking Trump 9 million times. Do you denounce white supremacy after you did once? Bring it up again and again and again.
Can we break their brains if we do the same ad but with a Down syndrome person? Like, okay, Down syndrome guy, apologize.
I have great dreams.
We need
an extra one.
We need to get it into the ear of 4chan to like do one of their insane 4chan ad campaign type things where they just flood the fucking box office. Like it had a 1 point whatever million dollar weekend, and then and then the next weekend it's up to like 600 million or something.
I mean,
Okay.
because I didn't know until I just looked it up right now what the Christie movie is even about.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where it's like, hey, I mean, I'm not interested.
No, I wouldn't be interested.
Like,
So, first
maybe if it had a
question.
director I really liked or something, but just off the top, like, okay, that's not for me.
Obviously, these crazy people online think your silly little Gene ad somehow means that you're a white supremacist. This isn't true, right?
I love jeans. I love jeans so much. I love President Donald Trump.
Is that a joke?
James?
Septum piercing theory.
I know. Is she trying to...
That's how they see the world. That's like I think that is a perception of what they see happening around them. Like that's
how they
that's
see
their vision. That's their beer goggles.
Dude, in 150 years, they're going to be telling stories the same way we tell stories about the Romans, how they did not realize how much lead fucks up your mind. They're going to tell stories about how, yeah, we didn't know there was this weird little nerve in your septum that if you broke it, you just fucked. You have the dumbest opinions ever. And you're not able to tell jokes because holy fuck, that wasn't a joke, lady. That was comedically insulting.
Wait, is there more?
Opportunity to talk about that specifically.
I think that when I have an issue that I want to speak about, people will hear.
I think it's one of the things that's funny about all the infighting with the right that we're talking about later is the whole concept of give you the opportunity. Like your dumb little fucking show to an A-list celebrity. Like she's got the opportunities, stupid. I just want to give you the opportunity. That
was one of my favorite tweets about that lady. It was like, imagine spending your entire journalistic career in relative obscurity and then landing an A-list actress only to become like the meme of an entire month.
This model here was the one black girl I went to high school with, and she is still a professional model, and she has great genes, and she could have done that commercial herself and said, I have great genes, but she probably thinks I'm a white supremacist because she was one of the first girls to ever like put her arm around me walking down the hall, and I froze up so hard I almost melted into the ground because I thought everybody thought she was hot and all that sorts of stuff. And maybe I froze up so hard she maybe I thought she was giving me cooties or something like that.
Well, she's pretty hot.
That's
how
the
might
rumors,
even venture.
that's when the rumors that you were gay started. That was the moment.
That was the moment I just froze up.
Like, well, that settles it.
White supremacist. He thought
I
he was
remember
cooties.
I remember the moment that ruined it for me was in 7th grade. We had shop class. We all had to go get our cutting boards and put them on our table. I was always friends with the guy that nobody wanted to be friends with, so I never had friends except him. And he was fucking weird. And
what's funny is he was friends with you for the exact same reason.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I seriously thought that until he moved away in 9th grade, and all of a sudden I had a ton of friends. Oh my God, you guys, they're like, yeah, we liked hanging out with you in band class. It's just, we don't want him to come. But anyway, we're in this class. This new girl, Jessica, comes in. We are both smitten with her. She is hot for us at the time because we were 7th graders. I'm not perving. Anyway, we're supposed to go in and get our cutting boards. For some reason, she doesn't go to the other room to get her cutting board. She just like takes one off of my table, like where I sit, and is going to, and as I'm sitting down, she's like, oh, I'm sorry, is this your cutting board? And I like freeze up, and I shit you not, I said, yes, but I go get another one. and then my nerd friend is like, no, Jessica, take mine, and like basically dives and slams it down in front of her and grabs mine from hers and puts it back in my spot. It was, I go get another one.
Steve says, wait, I saw Starbucks said the funny's not let me marry a black woman is why I don't convert. There are 3 car dealerships around here: Jake Sweeney, Bob Sweeney, and Dave Sweeney. But I hear Jake's a weenie.
Jake Sweeney.
That's Jake's weenie.
Sweeney.
Yeah. Me and
That's
my wife
like
in a school
James Lindsay's with his nudist courses.
Oh yeah.
I always hear it as nudist courses.
New discourses. I never
Nudist. Yeah, no, like
nudist courses. Nudist courses.
Oh, I want that meme.
You're doing a Mexican arbor, which is the thing that they mix words like that. The people who were always the best at that were Arrested Development with the rapist and now
rapist.
Yeah.
Gothic Castle.
Yeah.
Gothic Castle. There's a bunch
Gothic
of those.
Castle.
There was that one in
Message
State
One
Farm.
Clinic.
It was the
Yeah,
license plate. The license plate said "a new start," but it just looked like anus tart.
Yeah, anus tart. Yeah.
It's like it's famous in Mexico. I brought it up before. It's called an arbor, and Mexico City is especially famous for it. But because of the way Spanish is set up with the vowels and consonants, it just makes opportunity for infinite amounts of those, like infinite amounts. Because everything ends with a vowel and starts with like a consonant, so you can just go forever.
That was why when
I gotta announce my bailing. So if
No.
you have one more good one.
Oh, well, I mean, we're just going through these. I've got one that can see. I'm just talking through these. How I imagine evil as a kid. How evil actually looks. It is. We've talked before about like the Nurse Ratched thing, and we had whole episodes on Nurse Ratched. And do you want to take a quick moment to bend the knee to the woke mob who hates you simply for existing? I mean, something. Can you please disavow white supremacy? He's got a Burger King out. Would you like to apologize for ending human sacrifice? And it's yeah, those things can go for. You meant happy holidays, right? I mean, that's gonna just be a meme till the end of time. It's like, I think it's going to last through the ages. They are our nation's greatest ally, which is coming on. This is what Christopher sent. Just the 2 brain patterns. Out group preference, in group preference. That's it on the Sydney Sweeney stuff. We were just getting to the communist mayor and a breadline. Communist mayor and a breadline. I just wanted to show this. I averaged 9 hours and 30 minutes of screen time per day. I think I even get like more than that on my weekly reports, and that's all in triple speed, folks. I can only triple speed Tim Pool and the quartering, but
oh my god, I could quadruple speed the quartering, and I'd still hate it.
You actually watch the quarter? Like YouTube has stopped even recommending him to me. I'm trying to think
of him, but I mean, he's still Johnny on the spot with whatever's going on Twitter.
The one that I get all the time, the Johnny on the spot one, is called Liberal Hive Mind.
Oh yeah, I've seen
I get those sometimes.
I actually think Liberal Hive Mind's like a day late. I think the quartering's like on it.
I know he's less fast than the quartering, but also less cringe. But he's still pretty cringe.
He's still pretty cringe. I think
this whole week we're talking about how bad of a week Trump is having, and everything we talk about, he's somehow spinning it into a massive Trump win.
Oh, they don't even know. It's such a win. But one of the only reasons I pull this up is because I've said before, and I'll say it again. My only real massive superpower is that in any given week, I've probably heard all the sides. You know what I mean? And that's just all it is. Like if there's an argument for something, I listen to 950 different people's takes on it all the way through, just so I know all the things going on. And so many times when there's infighting between sides of stuff, you realize that half the time they're talking past each other because they didn't really hear it. They didn't really hear the other person. They didn't really hear the whole argument. They didn't see the whole thing. They picked up a thing that they got off Twitter of like one little part, and they don't know what the person's full extended argument is and all that sorts of stuff. And that's created a bunch of the riffs going on in the Tucker and the Ben right stuff. Mr. Buttfuck, threesome, I'll turn it into a 4. What? Put some clothes on James. We control James with that nonstop. Wait, what's that talking about?
James? I don't know who James is. Oh, James Lindsay.
Oh, James Lindsay, the nudist
So
course.
I know he's mentioned it. Like I remember,
Oh,
like
he
at least
has?
once I've heard him mention. He's like, I know it sounds like that.
I've never once heard it.
Now.
Let me just keep you here for a second until Jared gets back. Nick Fuentes declared Maga dead this week, and Adam Cargler, because he's wrong. That guy used to be on Tim Pool, and Clint Russell, the libertarian, saying he's not. I mean, maybe MAGA's dead. Maybe the MAGA coalition's dead. Maybe that whole concept and dream is pooped away. It's farted into the wind.
Yeah, so people are fighting over what it means now, but you know,
like, the whole Trump thing, like, because I never voted for him. I only supported him in the sense that, like, I root for whoever's president to do a good job, and at this point I kind of feel like it was just a lot of missed opportunity. I think overall he fumbled it. Like there was a lot of real chance. Like he did a lot of neat stuff, but at this point I think it's overwhelmingly dumb and counterproductive. But
the tariff shit is stupid. The lawsuit shit is mostly stupid.
Yeah, it's a lot of stupid.
What was I
raising the
going back on the H-1B stuff and all that sort of
stuff. H-1B, the 600,000 like Chinese students. That's got to be part of a deal with China that he's like playing close to the chest and not talking about, because otherwise he has to know that would piss off his base.
Well, and then the way he talked about it too is like, we don't have enough smart enough people around here. We need to bring smart people in.
That was crazy to me. Like he's not dumb enough to step into that trap because he watched Vivek Ramaswamy step into that trap a year ago, or not a year ago, but earlier this year.
Like, the thing is, like, because I have this feeling where I'm like, I just can't wait for him to be gone. I just want him to be gone. But then I also know that there's like the monkey paw aspect of that. That
everything's always
Democrats
worse.
if the Democrats come in right after Trump, they're going to do the same thing they did again, where like hold my beer. They're going to use every shittiness that happened under Trump as their justification.
Yeah. Well, just if they win the midterms, and there's a 50% thing on Cali betting right now that he's going to get impeached again, which has to mean that he loses the midterms. But if he loses the midterms, they will try to impeach him again.
Probably a few times. Honestly,
Garbage Globe starting a war with Venezuela is dumb. Yes, also.
We got RFM in the chat.
Madam and Eden, I'm Adam. Is that one of the art wars?
He's a palindrome. That's a palindrome.
Oh yeah, that's a palindrome. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I am fixated on palindromic numbers, like autistically so, because I found out what they were and I thought they were the coolest thing. And I was born in 1991, so I always just like we have these. We sample the air for airborne contaminants, and we'll get numbers.
Parts.
Yeah, and we'll get like a sample ID number when we're entering it into the database, and it's like a 6-digit number. And I can see when I'm close to a palindromic number, and I'm like, I need to find another one before somebody gets it. I need to go get another air sample because I have to enter. Just it's so like autistically pleasing to me when I can enter in a palindromic number on the keyboard. I don't know why.
Would you like? Is it worth having like mild radiation poisoning if you can get to your number?
He's just talking about the number 88, which is technically a palindrome.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, 88. That's I'm Heil Hitler. Yeah, they brought that. The two of the lefty guys at work the other day were bringing that up when one of them was telling me he's pissed because he uses 88 in his usernames, and that's because he was born in 88.
Just like you. Like everybody born in 88. I had a girlfriend who was born in 88 and she used it in all her numbers.
No, I use 88 because my birthday is August 8th.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's
8.
Oh, yeah.
And then my birth year is 1991. So it's two different palindromes. I like it. I always use like my name and then 88, and people chew me up like, oh, so dog whistle. I'm like, oh, bitch, I've been using that since my first email in like 2006. All right, that's my birthday. Likely story. You love it. Fuck you. I love Hitler. Okay, sure, fine. I love Hitler. he's great. Sieg Heil, whatever.
Well, because like there's that kind of thing where like the Nazi flag, obviously the swastika was banned in Germany, and
Mhm.
so the Nazis just started adapting a bunch of other flags from that period, and so it just creates this it's like the euphemism treadmill, but only for Nazi symbolism, where it's like, well, you keep banning them, and so they're just going to go to the next thing until now there's nothing left. Like
Reese is bringing up the chiasm and the palindromes. We should show RFM our what was it? Macho Man Randy Savage chiasm. That Macho Man Randy Savage only ever spoke in chiasm, like, "Ooh yeah, I'm gonna beat you, beat your ass good, beat you to death. Ooh yeah, ooh yeah, beat you to death, beat your ass good.
We'll have to find it.
Oh yeah,
We'll have to find it. There's a Macho Man Randy.
Chiasm is just speaking off the cuff for wrestling promos.
I know. Just use next time you're doing a Book of Mormon debunk type thing about chiasmus and how it's not actually as impressive as they make it sound. Just look at WWE kayfabe style dialogue.
Anything time Macho Man Randy Savage talk. Ooh yeah. Speaking of chiasmus, what is this? Oh, look at this. At BYU, emotions flared at Brigham Young University campus November 6th after political debate hosted by BYU Democrats, BYU Republicans, and Peacemaker Project concluded with students shouting "Free Palestine" as they exited in Joseph Smith Building Auditorium. Read more in the link.
Oh, God damn it.
Risa says, I've got to resume my Book of Mormon reading. Where'd you stop? Second Nephi? Or is it? That's where people usually stop, right?
Okay, so the longest known palindrome written by a single author is the novel Dr. Awkward and Olson in Oslo.
Huh.
That's the longest one?
It's the longest one, like in a novel. There's a computer-generated one, and it says it contains 74,000 letters, but it's not a coherent narrative. I'm like, well, that's not impressive. Or there's one word is tataratat, invented by James Joyce for the sound of knocking on a door, but whatever. And then there's a Finnish word, a dealer in lie or soapstone, like saipuki vakupuyes. Whatever that is.
The guy that was it in the 19th century that wrote an entire novel without using the letter E.
Oh, I remember hearing about that.
It was like, this sounds impossible, but I guess he pulled it off. All right, I gotta bail.
All right.
But I like this meme that's on the screen right there. That's succinct.
Maura said the left, what happened in the moderate right, the right, you shot it in the neck and left. I think one of the things that's been playing out a whole lot and just showing that I think is what I predicted right after Charlie was shot is that he really was a glue that held the coalition together. He really was. I thought it was going to fall apart without him, and it is falling apart without him.
Yeah.
And maybe deserves to stay apart, I guess. But
you had a good run, fellas.
Yeah.
All righty. I'm going to run.
All right.
Asta, you don't have a booze corner? You just said bloop.
I did say bloop. What? Somebody has to ask me a booze question to get a booze corner.
Well, I would, but I'm just drinking a Moscow Mule again. So
and you got your proper copper mug.
Of course I do.
And you buy quality ginger beer, right?
Yeah, I buy quality ginger beer. I do not buy quality vodka because I refuse to, because vodka is shit.
Well, because you remember my vodka?
Yeah, vodka is an ethanol delivery system.
No, that's what I guess I've got a lot of things about vodka. Like, because one of the things I say about vodka is that vodka's for drunks. But which vodka should I buy? My answer is don't buy cheap vodka. Don't buy expensive vodka. Buy the middle shelf vodka that's most on sale. That's the best vodka.
See, I trust, obviously I trust your booze knowledge more than mine. My advice is always buy shitty plastic bottom shelf vodka as long as there's no syrup in it, because it's all ass.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because when it comes down to it, because, there is something, because I have a whole rant about, there's no such thing as premium vodka for the same reason there's no such thing as premium aspirin. It's literally a solution of ethanol and water. The quality of the water, I think, is a big factor. And then also with distillation, there is like the more fusel alcohols that, are more obnoxious. But, you very quickly reach the practical limit of that. But also, like, if you're just sipping vodka straight, you might notice a difference between cheap and moderate vodka.
But who does that?
Well, yeah, exactly. As soon as you mix it with something, that's gone. But like between moderate and premium, there's no such thing. It's purely perception. But that's my Voo's corner. I'm blooping for real.
All right, get out of here so we can be apologists for anti-Semitism without you. We have to get ready to
Fuck
just
Israel.
kidding. Israel. Yeah, so we got called out by Forrest last week for saying that we were glazing Tucker a little bit too hard for his softball interview with Nick Fuentes. Do you think that we were glazing Tucker?
I mean, I didn't. I talked to him a little bit on Facebook, and let me check the last message that he sent. I assume he wouldn't mind me reading this on stream. He said, basically, you have more to say about how Ben should have picked better clips for his video than how Tucker hosted an evil person and didn't push back on any of his ideas. Like, I guess, I'd have to listen back to see how much I talked about Ben versus Tucker. I just thought Ben's response was mostly pathetic. I understand what he's saying about idea laundering. I get it. That was an okay point, I guess, but it also feels kind of woke, especially for somebody throwing out the term woke right a lot. And I don't know. I don't trust Tucker. But I don't know. I don't remember if we mentioned. I think I might have mentioned it in a previous podcast about how, definitely Tucker, he definitely pushes back really hard. He knows how to do it, and he's very selective on when he does it, which seems dishonest for sure. Like, he pushed back real fucking hard against Ted Cruz on something you could probably say is somewhat of a non-issue, like the population of Iran thing. You don't even know the population of Iran.
Well, I think he talked about that since, and he said, because he was being pushed on that by somebody, I can't even remember who, but he's saying, I was talking to a sitting U.S. senator who was arguing for going into a regime change war with Iran. I felt a little bit of dire straits about yelling at him about that one.
Yeah, I get it. I know, but and you could pretty easily argue that Ted Cruz should know the population, but it feels kind of similar to Ted Cruz should know the number one export from Iran, and I bet he doesn't. So yeah, he pushed back real hard against Ted Cruz. I understand Tucker is feeling shitty about his support for the Iraq war, and he is very on guard for doing that again. But I think my thing with Forrest is, man, I shat on Dave Smith pretty hard, and I listen to a lot of Dave Smith. He's one of my favorite people to listen to. I shat on him for glazing Nick's balls. It was pathetic to watch Dave Smith. It was embarrassingly pathetic because they agree on one thing, and they barely even agree on that. They just think we shouldn't be fighting wars for Israel. They agree on it for different reasons. Dave's just a non-interventionalist, and he thinks his big thing is war. We should always avoid war. He's always hawking antiwar.com. And that's, that's fine. That's a fine enough cause to be against war. But he's almost autistically so, and he focuses on it too much. And since Nick Fuentes happens to be against this war, then yeah, I get it. But also, man, Ted Cruz is a lot closer to your politics than Nick Fuentes is. You guys might both be on the right side of the spectrum, but Nick is way on the top and you are way on the bottom.
Yeah, well, one of my issues with the entire thing is, well, first off, I mean, in the whole entire episode, I made fun of Tucker for apologizing or being apologist for crap regimes, right? Being an apologist for Iran, Islam, Dubai, for Venezuela and all that stuff. And I think he was ultimately making the point, because he's tried to address that again since, that he was making the point of, supposedly, don't you guys have some sort of agreements with these different authoritarian countries, at least in their conservative politics, they're conservative of being good on whatever issues like social conservatism or cleanliness and law and that sorts of stuff. And I don't necessarily know why he needs to make the claim for that stuff or soften those regimes or something like that. But I ultimately didn't have a problem with how he interviewed Fuentes. People said it was a softball interview. I think when you are dealing with Fuentes and a Groyper army, it is a different battle there than what you're doing with Fuentes, what you're doing with Ted Cruz. If he went after Fuentes, because if Tucker's trying to reach Fuentes' audience, taking the approach of what he did with Ted Cruz would be bad news for that. It would just set them off. And one of the things that's happened.
Well, I guess isn't the argument that like you should be looking for morality rather than looking for an audience? I guess that would be.
I don't know if he's looking for an audience, but he was talking to Fuentes across the entire thing about him backing off of the concept of it's all the Jews or it's Jewry itself, and talking about like individual type stuff. He was trying to talk him like off that idea throughout the whole entire thing.
Holy fuck. Risto pointed out, Nick says Game of Thrones is better than Lord of the Rings. Tucker didn't confront him on that. Dude, I'm going full Ben Shapiro on that shit.
Well, even worse, Tucker had on yesterday Anna Kasparian, and he glazed her balls really hard. And
everyone's been glazing her balls
for that. I'm just kidding. But the way he talked to Fuentes is like it's a different methodology, a different thing when they're trying to talk to Groypers, because I think both Dave and Nick were, number one, the big issue with Charlie Kirk that Candace is trying to bring up as motive. What the motive is why people must have been needing to get rid of Charlie Kirk is because he had an arc where he was turning on Israel. He had that arc that he was turning on Israel, and he had an arc that he was maybe going to baptize Catholic, which means he had an arc that maybe he was going the direction of Fuentes or something like that. So he had to be gotten rid of. She doesn't know how the gotten rid of part quite happened yet, but the whole framing is I've got to create this motive of why Israel or those weird pastors all around TPUSA who do have like weird background stuff of strange things that happens with Christian Zionists and all sorts of stuff. They have, like anything, she was pulling up today, almost kind of like how the ex-Mormons do, all these different past 10 years of weird sexual misconduct things of people in their vicinity, right? She just spent like the whole day doing that, saying, look at how weird and shady these organizations that were around him are with their, she even mentioned herself, like, I know as soon as anything gets big enough, there's going to be a lot of sex pestery in it. But she was also trying to frame that these are just shady organizations, and he was trying to get away from them and go to the truth Catholic because she's Catholic now. And the other end of it is that Charlie was flipping on that stuff. But if you really look at everything that they're pointing at, is that Charlie was aware that Israel was hemorrhaging support for people under 40. Right?
Yeah.
And that was the issue that they're dealing with. They're dealing with that hemorrhage and what the heck they got to do with it. Like that is becoming a voting block that they've got to deal with. And Dave Smith almost relishes in it. He laughs at it and that sort of stuff. Tucker might be concerned about it or something like that, but he was talking to him. He was genuinely talking to him, just basically coming at the angle of I need to talk him off of the stuff that seems racist about this, ethnically racist about it. And then, of course, he got smeared as being one himself. But if he just went full Ted Cruz on him, like I'm going full Ted Cruz on him, all that would have done is signal to the boomers who already agreed with all that stuff that, look, I've done this great big virtue signal to show you that I'm not the exact same as a gay boy fed who just is trying to, like a Pied Piper, lead all the kids down this path or something like that. And I still think Fuentes is an op. And Dave Smith's mentor, Scott Horton, on Provoked last week with Martyr Maid, one of the other guys who is supposedly the big name the denialist, the person who questioned Winston Churchill, he said that he felt that Fuentes was an op, and an op in the sense of just in there to get anybody agreeing along with it, so that they become the boogeyman that you can paint them with from one side or the other to say, look, these guys have aligned with these little idiots.
Maybe there just has to be I don't know, maybe any cohesive society needs a certain amount of people who are like emotionally attached, and then a certain amount of people who can detach themselves, because I feel very detached from a lot of these things that seem to make people very emotional. I think maybe that's a lot of us are, because like with the whole Stalin thing, right? I wanted Tucker to go into that, and not from like a den mothery moralistic perspective, because I was like, wait, what? I had never heard Nick Fuentes say that. Maybe he's talked about it a lot. I don't know, but I'm like, how do you not ask him about when you? And I'm not like, how do you not ask him about that? How do you not go about that? And
Fuentes gave the argument. I mean, not Fuentes. Dave Smith gave the argument on trigonometry that it sounded like he was going to come back to it. Like, let me come back to that, and then forgot to go back to it or something.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Well, I'm just saying, like, wait, how do you not stop him right there and just be like, wait, what are you saying? But I'm saying it more from like a detached. That's perplexing that you believe that type thing, not like we need to stamp this
but
belief.
Does he believe it, or is he being
I don't know.
Fuentes?
That's why I'm asking.
And does Tucker aware that he's being Fuentes and maybe trying to derail a conversation into being edgy boy, you know?
No, he may very
and
well
maybe
be
it's
doing
smart to dodge that crap, to send you off in a different direction when he's sitting there trying to talk to you about Christian love and respect for the individual, which Tucker did spend a lot of time with in that whole thing.
I get that. And I'm not saying it from a moralistic standpoint. I'm saying that like that would have nailed my curiosity. I'm like, oh, can you explain that a little bit? I'm like, red pill me on Stalin real quick, okay?
You want to know what's ridiculous is the Academic Agent, another big name, and there's some infighting going on about this. He is who Scott Horton is to Dave Smith. Academic Agent is to Sargon of Akkad, right?
Okay,
like he's the intellectual that person follows, and almost anything they start spouting now, he's spouting it like a few months later as if it was like his own idea. And in both cases, admittedly so. Like Dave Smith admits, I just follow Scott Horton, and in most cases, Sargon goes, I take a lot from Academic Agent, right? Academic Agent was for sure the one that led the Lotus Eaters and Sargon down the path of post-liberalism, right? For sure, he's the one who introduced him to that. Anyway, that guy's been going on and apologizing for Stalin arc. 100%.
Academic Agent has?
Yep, just in the last month. Look, did you know that Stalin actually quintupled 8 times the steel production? Did you know that the deaths are doubtful about Stalin? Like blaming all those deaths on Stalin, it's doubtful. A lot of people have called that into doubt, which I've heard those arguments from tankies and all that.
All right, well, what if it was only like, I don't know, 50% of the desk? All right.
No, not even that. It was all a lie by Solzhenitsyn. Solzhenitsyn was just an imaginative book writer.
So he's like the Anne Frank's dad of the Holocaust deniers.
Yeah, and then actually Robert Conquest, the guy we brought up a bunch of times, Robert Conquest of Conquest, 3 Laws of Politics. You know, Robert Conquest is one of the major historians of Russia who dug up and made a lot of the claims about all the deaths around the USSR, and people call into question Robert Conquest's history if he did the history right in there or some sort. But why is that guy going on a Stalin apology arc? And he even like announces like, this is my liberal arc. The distributist Dave Green, the guy we brought up last week who was describing this stuff, his whole podcast yesterday in the midst of all of this, and that's a big deal of those two different people on that intellectual right. He went after Academic Agent for his stupid Stalin arc, you know, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous stuff to read and look at and see. And
that's going to be a difficult one to apologize for.
Well, it's tanky arguments. I've heard those tanky arguments for forever.
Yeah.
Like, I was really shocked the first time I came across an actual tanky who was like, well, Solzhenitsyn was a liar, you know, type stuff. And you can look into see, because Solzhenitsyn's book, The Gulag Archipelago, is written more like a novel than a history, right? But all the stuff, like a ton of different people have looked into his claims in that and found verifiable correlations or historical or documents to the things that he claimed or things that might have happened. Not like he can go prove it like one for one every single thing happened, but the people existed that he talked about, and the people no longer existed that he knew and mentioned by name and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, all the infighting about that stuff's stupid. It's just ridiculous and dumb. But also, like, for us, like, thinking that we're not denouncing, right? Even though we did say it was all stupid and idiotic. But one of the big points
I
about
think we
it,
should take a moment right here to everybody here denounces anti-Semitism, right?
yeah. But
I don't. I love it.
One of my arguments about it is, and I stand by, Ben Shapiro's been shit. Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin have been shit.
Oh, Mark Levin has been triple shit.
Well, Mark Levin, you can give him like boomer apologetics for it. You know what I mean? Like, he's just a dumb old Fox News boomer.
Yeah.
But him going around and saying stuff like it's in the DNA, it's in Tucker Carlson's DNA to be this way. Just like Josh Hammer said, it's in the DNA of the Europeans to be anti-Semitic. Well, that's just as much of a genetic claim as
the anti-Semites. Yeah, you're making anti-Semitic claims just about white people, okay?
But Ben Shapiro, who should be internet savvy, pulled up. I was trying to find the clip of it, and those clips, a lot of people mentioned how he just like showed clips and didn't give context around them. Some of them argue directly against some claims that Ben has made over time. Some of them, like the things Candace said, were before they even hired Candace up and all that sorts of stuff. And there is like a long running thing that goes like, if you Tucker and Ben's last interview together, which was like 4 or 5 years ago, kind of draws on the same arguments that are going on today. Do you remember that debate was about?
I think I heard someone talking about it today. What was it?
They got interpersonally in a fight about if trucks can be driven by AI. Should the government ban that because we have a huge population that is positively
it's the candle maker's argument.
Yeah.
I'm guessing Ben Shapiro said don't ban it.
Yep. And Tucker said ban it. And that was a big thing. And then if you go and listen to Charlie Kirk's last appearance on Tucker Carlson, Charlie was pushing towards the concept of managed economy on Tucker's side, as opposed to Ben a little bit more when it comes to things like this. And Matt Walsh was just going off on it again today too himself. These arguments of, should it just be infinite free market, GDP line go up, or do we have to start caring about these things, especially in the age of AI? Which honestly, like some of those questions, I don't know the answer to. I think for most of our lives, although we have questions about what's happened with NAFTA and factories being shipped across the world to go get cheaper labor and all that sorts of stuff, and that's what half of these tariffs were about. You have to stop and question, like, was just pure free market actually good for the American people? And
it was good for light bulbs.
It's good for light bulbs, but if I drive through the old towns that my grandpa used to be a miner in, it doesn't look so great there.
Yeah.
But and that's supposedly what Tucker's championing. And if you go and listen to the last episode of Charlie and Tucker, Charlie was starting to talk along the same lines. So Ben goes on Trigonometry this week. Both he and Dave Smith were on Trigonometry this week, and they both did pretty good. But what people actually pulled out about what Ben said is that Ben said, for economics, you should just be willing to uproot yourself from wherever you're at any point and move away to where the jobs are.
Yeah, that's not going to be super appealing to the right wing.
Yeah. Like they didn't even focus on any of the stuff he said about Israel or any of that. They just focused on him saying that. But there's his double standard of, could you just say that to Israel? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You guys should just get out of it. You should just move up and move away from the thing that you think's the place that you need. And
well, that's kind of one of the things we were trying to point out with the whole Nick Fuentes thing, because you have to acknowledge that a lot of the grievances that the Gory Boys have are real grievances, and that they go about it the wrong way. One of the grievances is that there is inarguably a double standard for Israel. That's not even something you can argue. In fact, you have to acknowledge And one of the best people at acknowledging that he is actually engaging in special pleading is Sam Harris. I'll have to ask Flip for the clip, but there's a thing from years ago where Sam Harris he is acknowledging that he is special pleading for a case for Israel. And I'm like, I can respect that you understand what you're doing right now is special pleading. Ben Shapiro tries to pretend that it isn't.
Yeah,
And
in my book, that's a little bit all I want is just the admittance of the special plead, the admittance for the special plead for an ethno state, the admittance for the special plead for a religious state.
And it's not even just, it goes further than that. It's not just with an ethno state. That's their biggest gripe, but it's with every other American racial minority. You can have a black students union and nobody bats an eye. You can't have a white students union. You will be shut down for that. You'll be called a racist for that. You can say being black is beautiful. You could probably, I don't know, put up a poster on a campus saying blacks are superior or something like that, and it wouldn't get taken down. But you go back to the "it's okay to be white" campaign. It was considered a hate crime by most of the people on campus. That's a massive double standard. You guys are engaging in special pleading for everybody else but white people. Ben Shapiro types are engaging in it explicitly for Israel. So acknowledge that and explain to us the special plea that why we should treat Israel differently than we treat every other nation. Why can Jews have an ethno state, but white people shouldn't have an ethno state? And I will respect you more if you can make that argument, but Shapiro avoids that.
Yeah, he avoids it and just immediately goes to the bigot call. But I mean, I had something here. I'm trying to find it. Do you see the Ian Carroll clip? And it's one of the things I was talking about, because so many of those different people, if Shapiro is signaling to the boomer class, that was a good episode, right? Well, boy, scary boogeyman, this little gay boy, cat boy fed. He sure is scary. You scared him. Like, good job, Shapiro. And maybe there is some power in that, because part of what the argument of all this stuff, they brought it up with Dave Smith on Trigonometry, is there's people who are extremely online, and the Fuentes crowd is extremely online. And a lot of the people around this are extremely online. And the normie, the average normie, is going to be spooked by a Fuentes. And if you bring a Fuentes into your coalition, very easy little propaganda piece there to spook the whole world. Like, these guys are all believing in this Fuentes dipshit. And I think there is some sort of level of like, well, not only, it's not even like, if they're saying they don't want Fuentes in the party, guess what? He was never in it. He was never in it. Like, he denounced all this stuff, said he wasn't voting Trump forever back in the past, and said he'd vote for Gavin Newsom and all that sorts of stuff. So you don't need to kick out the guy who's already out. But so that's not even a problem right there. But if you want to talk to the people, whoever are getting whipped up or buying into that sort of stuff, you've got a different battle with that group than just doing spook scare tactics or the same type of identity politics that people used to say on the left. And that's why these guys are calling out, like, there's all these woke right. There's constant people saying that you guys are doing the identity cancellations here. But one of the big things that came up, like, so he pulled the scary things that he said about I like Hitler and all that sorts of stuff. And all those things are obviously just a gay boy gamer just trying to whip people up in ways that they did 6 years ago when doing gaming online, all that sort of stuff. Some of them was him cheering on Kanye West's shitty song that was all whatever.
Nigga, Heil Hitler.
Yeah, there's Starbase Call saying, do Mormons get our ethno state back? Yeah, that's the question. And Fuentes is pushing for a Catholic ethno state, and the other Christian nationalists. So how do you argue to them that the Jews can do that and those guys can't?
I would move to the Mormon ethno state based on how fucking rich they are, basically. Like, they're richer than the U.S. government at this point. Like, I know we have a massive GDP, but like, also we have a massive debt. But I don't know. And another little, I mentioned it last week, but another little nitpicky thing is if you're trying to take down Fuentes using clips of his to talk about his legitimately shitty views, he's got a lot of them, don't use jokes. It completely delegitimizes everything you say. And like, Trigonometry talking to Dave Smith, they did a much better job than Ben Shapiro did, but Constantine even mentioned the whole, he's someone that said that, will you rape and murder on behalf of Nicholas J. Fuentes? Dude, that was so obviously a joke. I would make that joke if I were as massive as him. I would make that joke. I'd be saying, will you be willing to rape and murder for Jared Higdon? And that's a joke. You go to his stuff that isn't a joke. There's a lot of shit that he says that's pretty terrible. That's not a joke. Like when he says shit like, I don't think he was joking when he was
I think it's
about,
all Jewry. I think this is Jewry that brings this about and all that types of stuff.
yeah, he's talking about American Jewry, shit like that. This isn't an Israel problem, it's a Jew problem. He flat out says that. And yeah, that's a thing I wish Tucker would have asked him more about, but whatever. It's, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, Tucker did ask him about that stuff. They did go into detail on do you think it's all Jews or do you think there's individuals? And Tucker did push back on that. If anybody like actually listened to the dang episode,
Maybe I'll listen to it again. I just don't. Yeah. I've watched so much fucking shit this last week and a half that I watched like 5 different Nick Fuentes things, and I felt like Patrick Bet-Davis was the one that pushed back the most on him.
But that's the other thing is like he was just on Patrick Bet-David. He was just on a bunch of different like local regular podcasts, and maybe there's something about mainstreaming him. But suddenly Tucker was one who didn't do well enough pushing back on it. Which just 2 months ago or a month ago, Tucker and Fuentes had a major internet fight because Tucker called him a gay Fed boy, you know what I mean? Which is tougher than anybody else has ever on him. I guess they made kumbayas about that. But this is one of the things I'm talking about with Shapiro. So a bunch of stuff has come up with Shapiro lately, and it's part of the problem with that video that he made. But so he goes on Megyn Kelly, and he starts making the case to Megyn Kelly, and on the exact same thing, he pushes on Megyn Kelly, telling her that he has said that, or Candace Owens has said that Erica Kirk killed Charlie Kirk, and Candace is an idiot. It's hard to keep up with her, but I don't think it sucks to sit there and have to like catch all her stuff. But no, she's never said that one thing directly. She's insinuated a lot of other things, but her crowd, if you go and lie about her like that in the internet era on a stage like that, it triples and doubles them down. You know, you got to be like a little bit accurate about an accusation about something like that. And one of my frustrations with Ben in that video is just like we always used to say about people complaining about Trump is there's a million things worth complaining about him with. And you guys like you lie, like go for the real things. It's really easy to go for the real things, but you choose things that are weird and they're lies and they're like, you know. So this is one of the things that came up with Ian Carroll right here, who is also a bozo. But this is just one of the ways they can point out that Ben Shapiro is being a sniveling liar.
It gets way better than just this part.
A video game where you shoot people, and he's pretending that this character in the video is Ben. Let's watch.
Nick is literally live streaming Grand Theft Auto like 6 years ago.
That's funny. Oh, that's funny. Man, that makes me laugh and laugh. That's a funny one. What a chance encounter that was. I think I just saw Ben Shapiro.
These guys, I mean, obviously, they have never been in a Call of Duty chat room. These guys have obviously.
So they make it look like they pull up on stage saying that I think I just saw Ben Shapiro because he's shooting somebody in a video game, you know, type thing. And it gets worse than that because he goes and pulls like
they don't have kids video, or they're not paying very good attention to them.
Which is a famous meme. This is a famous like scene that the Groypers.
Well,
like.
Also, by the way, it's one of the funniest things ever was so GTA 6 is coming out eventually. They just delayed it again. It's not coming out until November of 2026, which is irritating because everybody wants it. And I think it'll be a pretty good game. One of the things the developers said is that GTA 6 will feature pride parades. It's just
why? Like, because people will just go massacre people.
I know that's what everybody. Everybody who's ever played GTA immediately started commenting on that.
Are they going to block them from being able to kill people in the Pride Parade?
If they do, that will suck because everybody's just like, oh, I know where I'm going to go mow people down. And for some reason, that's worse than the other shit that you already do in GTA 5 and the previous games. I remember playing GTA 5 and Morgan was watching me and she loved watching me play that game when we were first married. And she loved playing the game too. She'd have fun. We'd go to the GTA 5 version of Venice Beach and just get in a car and just mow over a massive crowd of people. And she thought it was the funniest thing ever. And then later I'm playing it and my sister and Morgan are sitting back there talking. And I'm driving along and I'm on a hill and I get out and there's a cow that runs into me and I'm like, fuck you, cow. And I shoot it in the head. And Morgan and my sister are both like, no, don't shoot the cow. And I was like, what are you talking about? I just murdered
50 people if you can't kill an innocent animal.
And you were laughing at it and they kind of like laughed at themselves. They were self-aware. They're like, oh yeah, it's just they've been
It's just like in any horror movie, the horror creature can't kill a dog. It can kill humans all they want, but it can't kill a
dog people I don't understand. I like dogs, but holy fuck, we like dogs too much as a society. It's insane. You should treat your dog well. You should take him on walks. You should feed him well. You let him get exercise. But holy fuck. I like dogs more than people. No, you don't. I know that if I put a gun in your hand and a gun to your head and said, you either shoot this dog or this random dude, choose now. I know you would choose the dog. You're like, no, I wouldn't. Yeah, you would. You would be sad about it. You don't want to kill a random dog, but fuck you. I know you would.
Yeah. Anyway, just back to this to show like how stupid this is in the internet era to do this. To get up and say, look, this is him in a video game saying he's going to kill me in his live stream in a video game. Do you know how many times Hassan Piker or different people have probably done this in first-person shooters? Like first-person shooters probably have this happening 9 million times a day in live streams on Twitch every single day. Oh, this is actually somebody I'm shooting here, like in there. But
because A, that
he
was
didn't
the
do
tamest
that.
shit I've ever seen in my fucking life. B, he wasn't actually referring to the guy who was shooting as Ben Shapiro. He was making a running joke. And if you had any context, other than your out of context clip, you would find one of the funniest fucking clips on the internet today. Check this out. This is pure gold. And oh my God, let's just remember, it's been 10 years since Ben Shapiro, rather than debating Nick Fuentes, tried to cancel him. Had whole organizations gang up on him, had him debanked, had him put on the no-fly list, had him kicked off of all the platforms, everything they could possibly try, except sitting down and out thinking him in the open markets with your ideas. Ben Shapiro is still a fucking pussy, too scared to debate Nick Fuentes to this day. And he could do it anytime he wanted. He could do it right now. Nick Fuentes just re-offered the challenge just the other night. It would be the most watched debate in probably the whole decade, like overnight. It would probably single-handedly bring the Israeli wire back from bankruptcy. Ben could get a new mansion. But oy vey, that would be very dangerous to do. That would be very bad to do, to engage in the free market of ideas. So let's just remember that that's the context around Ben Shapiro debating Nick Fuentes. And that's the context around the little joke that Nick just made in the last clip that you saw. And this is the clip that Megyn Kelly apparently didn't look far enough to find.
Maybe I'll take a cruise down this side of the street.
Nick's just
He is
cruising
close.
around.
He is near, though. That is true.
He's looking for something. What's he looking for?
There he is. Yep. Hey, Ben. You thought you could get away from me the first time, huh? Without debating me? I just want to talk, please.
It's a Jew.
Stop running.
Jewish guy. In Grand
I'm
Theft
not
Auto.
a threat to you. Look, here I am. I showed up.
He literally is hunting down Ben Shapiro in Grand Theft Auto, not to shoot him, which is like the point of Grand Theft Auto is to just shoot random people, blow up cars, jump off buildings. That's what people do in Grand Theft Auto. Nick Fuentes is not doing that. Nick Fuentes is fucking finding the Jewish dude on the side of the road in Grand Theft Auto when he's live streaming, and he's getting out of his car and walking up to him. And because Ben Shapiro won't actually debate him in real life, instead, he's simulating it in Grand Theft Auto and saying, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm no threat to you. I just want to talk to you. I'm just here to debate you, Ben Shapiro. I'm just going to talk. I'm just talking. Don't run away, Ben Shapiro.
And I just want to talk about ideas, okay? You're the one that loves the marketplace of ideas so much. Just talk to me. You make me want to puke.
And Megyn Kelly had no idea what she was referencing when she brought up that clip. This is literally a running joke in his streaming when he was streaming video games and streaming Grand Theft Auto. He would make jokes when he would see the Jews on the side of the road that it was Ben Shapiro, and he would try to debate him in Grand Theft Auto. And then the Jewish guy would run away because it's Grand Theft Auto, and that's how it works. And then it just gets funnier and funnier. Don't worry, it gets better.
Back here, bro.
He's just chasing him down.
Ben Shapiro, bro.
For
Get
like
back
2
here.
minutes. Doesn't want to hurt him.
You're really making my skin fucking point to you.
And then
Is this what you want, Ben? Is this what Ben wants? This instead of
He's okay. So
taser?
have you ever
Do I have
played
to?
this game?
he's looking for non-lethal options.
I had the taser.
Yeah,
Is it possible to do him?
So what he's doing, you can
I don't
hear
have
his
anything that's not
character.
optical here.
let me get
He's
there.
trying
Hold on.
everything. He's trying everything.
No, I second thought. No,
I lost my
Bad
place
idea.
where I was.
He's still chasing
Yeah.
him.
Disavow that. That's the only non-lethal weapon I have.
Literally, this is going on for minutes, trying non-lethal approaches to get a debate.
I wasn't even thinking.
What does it take to get a debate with Ben Shapiro? He'll try anything to get a debate with Ben Shapiro. He just wants to engage in the marketplace of ideas.
Think of it like that, Ben.
But then, what actually winds up happening in the clip?
I think you can keep this up.
Found
The
it.
guy's running away. The guy's running away.
I lost my screen. Okay.
Oh, so you can hear Nick is playing as Michael right now, and when you're playing the game, you walk up to somebody. If you press left on the D-pad, if you press right on the D-pad, your character will be like, "Hey, what's up?" Be like nice to him. If you press left on the D-pad, he'll be a dick to him. So you can hear Nick's character every now and then going like, "You make me sick." That's one of Michael's lines when you press left on the D-pad and he shits on him. Most characters, if you do that to him, they'll like, "Whoa, hang on a sec." And if you do it again, they'll either attack you or they'll run away. So I think he was trying to get Ben Shapiro to attack him. But he just kept insulting him, like pressing the insult button. Like the Ben Shapiro kept running away. So it was either way, it's a funny clip.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's still going a little bit because he ends up getting shot by
And then, whoa, what just happened?
some
He got hit
cop.
by a car. The
Or a
car
car.
ran him over.
Him. I will defend. Survive.
They both survive. And then the very end of the clip, once they've been run over by cars, Nick's been chasing him down. He's been trying to debate him. And then the dude's running away. And the police shoot
What
him.
happened?
The police guy shot him.
Ben, are you okay? This is supposed to be a debate. This is a debate, you monsters. How could you kill him like?
And then Nick Shapiro comes to the defense of Ben Shapiro, or Nick Fuentes comes to the defense of Ben Shapiro and starts fighting the cops that just murdered him. And he starts going after them.
That.
This is supposed to be a debate, you animals.
I will avenge Ben Shapiro. I must avenge.
This is literally.
But like the thing is, like in the internet era, so that other clip that they showed, he was just playing the game normally, and he saw the same character in the game sometime later, and just when running away from it said, "Oh, by the way, I think I saw Shapiro there again." You know,
Yeah.
just seeing the same character in the game. But in the internet era, you know, just like so many of the other clips, because if you watch like Academic Agent's review of Ben Shapiro's video, and he says, "You're just showing the clips without context," and some of the stuff is just like, I agree with that. Or what are you saying? Like, what is this even? Like, why bring it's just stuff to spook the boomers. And you know you're just spooking the boomers. And you know you're not actually trying to talk down whatever army of kids have gotten whipped up by Nick Fuentes. And I believe that there is some talking to them, or there should be some talking to them. Obviously not all of them. I mean, so much stuff on the internet nowadays, just like you say anything pro-Israel and it's like, here's your $7,000, here's your $7,000 type stuff. But yeah, if he's just trying to scare the boomers, fine. But he's doing tactics that everybody decried about the left for the past 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he's done a bunch of that stuff. So he says that Candace claims that Erica was in on killing the thing. Then he backs off of it. Then Megan Kelly comes out the next night and says,
see, part
she
of this
didn't
is,
say that, and now that looks stupid on Ben too.
part of this is that, like, I feel like Shapiro should know better on a lot of these things.
Yeah.
Because he was
Mark Levin would be this way because he is a dumb boomer. Shapiro should be better at internet stuff.
Shapiro's probably the political pundit I have watched the most out of any of them. Like, I don't know. I was pretty apolitical. It's kind of funny because I came back from my mission. I didn't get into politics in high school. I didn't get into them after high school. And then I come back from my mission, and all my friends are really big into politics. They're very into Stefan Molyneux, and they're like, "Yeah, we're all ANCAPs now." And I was like, "What's that?" They're like, "Anarcho-capitalists. We think that there should be no government and only capitalism." And I was like, "But if there's no state, wouldn't there be a state? Like, wouldn't the state immediately? Whoever just has the most guns, and like, how would defense work?" And they're like, "Oh, well, it's people could hire, like, it would just all be capital based. People could hire people with guns." Like, yeah, but then the richest guy, if he's benevolent, great. But if the richest guy is a dick, which is more likely than him being benevolent, wouldn't he become the state? And that would probably be shittier than the state we have now, which is shitty, admittedly. And I don't know, they've all like since moved on from being full on ANCAPs. But like, I started looking into politics then because I remember saying to one of my friends, they're talking about the difference between liberals and conservatives, and they were more conservative. And I was like, I guess I'd be more liberal, because I didn't know anything. I was like, I guess I'd be more liberal. I always figured I'd be more liberal because I'm like pro-gay marriage. It was the only thing I thought of. And they were like, well, don't choose just because of that. And they were right. That's not something to choose. But so I get into this stuff. And in that era, I start, reading. There was a subreddit called Tumblr in Action in 2014, which was like just showing all of this, the woke insanity before it became mainstream. And then as it became more mainstream slowly, Ben Shapiro started popping up. And so he was one of the first ones I watched a bunch of. And so I watched a ton of Ben Shapiro. I really do actually like him most of the time. I think he might be a little bit too close to this Israel stuff. And when I criticize him for his Nick Fuentes take, it really seriously comes from more of a place of love than anything.
Mine comes from a place of, you could do this right. And
no, that's exactly. I did I text that? I was gonna text Ben Shapiro could, when you sent me the trigonometry discussion with Dave Smith. That was my first response. I get halfway through it, and I was like, Ben Shapiro is capable of this.
Yeah.
He's totally capable.
Coleman Hughes did a great job. The trigonometry guys with Dave Smith did a great job this week. But I have my hunches on why Ben Shapiro won't do it right. And I think part of it is Fuentes.
Hey, before you say anything, just remember that accusing a Jew of due loyalty is a sure sign of anti-Semitism.
It's because he has dual loyalty. Oh, no, no, I believe it's not actually. It might be a little bit because he's a bit too close to Netanyahu.
Yeah.
Than just Israel, because
I could tell. Like,
if you're defending Israel.
Yeah, I'm like, if you want to shit on Tucker for his softball Nick Fuentes interview, then you got to get ready for me to shit on you for your softball Netanyahu interview. Exactly. I watched that shit, and you glazed his balls probably more than Tucker glazed Nick Fuentes.
And one of the reasons it's easy for Coleman and for the guys at Trigonometry, because the Trigonometry guys interviewed Netanyahu and they dared to ask him some questions, but they don't have some sort of alliance that when Dave starts going off on Netanyahu, they can say stuff like, well, that's not cool that he did that. You know what I mean? And Ben can't say that. You know what I mean?
Well, and it worked better. It worked very well to their advantage, because Shapiro would have gotten off into the woods, like when they said, well, what do you think Netanyahu should do? Shapiro would have gotten off into the woods on something stupid defending Netanyahu. Dave Smith, his response was stupid, because what he said was, well, I think he should resign in disgrace. And Konstantin, if Dave Smith said that to Ben Shapiro would have been like, well, Netanyahu's doing this and this and this. He's doing this great and this great and this great. Tell me why he should resign. And then they would get into a discussion about why he should resign. He would have been easily deflected onto what Dave Smith was trying to deflect him on. Konstantin Kisin is not that way. He's not as attached to Netanyahu as a person. So he said, okay, fine. Yeah, let's say he resigns in disgrace and Dave Smith becomes the prime minister of Israel. What do you do? Like, he keeps him on track. And that's something very difficult to do with Dave Smith. He loves going off on tangents. And I like Dave Smith quite a bit. But he goes off on tangents and he tries to talk for too long. And then when somebody interrupts him, he's like, no, let me finish my point. And Konstantin Kissin and Lawrence Foster, they did a great job at keeping him on track and say, okay, yeah, let's grant you that Netanyahu's a piece of shit, whatever. What do you do?
Yeah.
And his answers were a lot more empty than they usually are.
And they didn't have to go on some rampage of defending Netanyahu. And they could even just say something like, and it came up in the discussion of he should be investigated for the claims that they've made of Netanyahu's helped fund and create Hamas, not create, but he drug them along. He drug them along because it was supposedly easy. And there's quotes and things about this. Dave Smith even quoted it directly, if you watch his debate with Laura Loomer, directly out of the Jerusalem Times. And there's even clips and quotes of Netanyahu saying it that you can see in person, that it was better to keep Hamas there at a low level because it was easier for them to not give Palestine a state if they had Hamas around. So he low-key helped keep that around. And then there's questions about how they were able to invade on that day, and they say it needs an investigation. And I've even heard Netanyahu say, "Oh, you can have an investigation, but you can't have the investigation while we're still carrying out this war." And Dave Smith said, "Well, sure, yeah, but you can see how that becomes a pretty big incentive to keep carrying out this war, right?"
Yeah.
And that should just be obvious type stuff. And there's a lot of people inside Israel and out. That Robert Barnes is full Israel, but I don't like Netanyahu. You know, like I'm full. I even like the Zionist cause, he will say, but I think Netanyahu has failed. And in my end view of all this stuff is, I'm somebody who doesn't like any government. And I'm somebody who ultimately doesn't think any religion should be running government, but I'm also somebody who's a realist and goes, I can't be Stefan Molyneux. I can't pretend that the anarcho world's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I do have to accept some government, and I do have to accept some religion, and those religions and those governments are going to overlap. And if that's the world that we're in, the government and the Israeli government overlapping, I'm way more amenable to that than Islam. And if they're fighting Islam, it's the Gavin McInnes line, you know what I mean? Like,
that shit is so easy. That's like, I don't like the Israeli government at all. But if the choice were between an
Islam, just taking that arrow.
Yeah, so if it was between a Jewish state and an Islamic state, it's not difficult at all.
Yeah,
because I'm also a liberal, you know, we're left, not lefty.
If we are out of it, I'm even amenable to the concept of them and their greater Israel push of them saying, well, we're going to expand our empire. I'd be like, well, based, knock yourselves out with that. We're not, we're not in on it. But if Israel takes over more of that land on their own crusade, I would be fine with that. You know what I mean? I just don't want to have to be paying for it when we should be paying for other stuff. And I've said before, I was just saying this week, if there's ever been a thing in the world that I daydream I could Thanos snap out of existence, I wouldn't say their lives, but I could snap out the religious thinking. I would snap out Islam.
Yeah. If you could snap out Islam without snapping out all the Muslims, fuck yeah. Are you kidding? Of course.
Absolutely.
I remember asking,
if I snapped them into Jews, I would do that.
Oh, yeah. Easily. I remember asking Forrest one time, or mentioning to him, sort of comparing him and Jacob to Peter and Christopher Hitchens, and talking about one of those final Christopher Hitchens quotes where he's saying, I think if we had obliterated Christianity and there was only one Christian left in the world and I could just push a button and turn him into an atheist, I don't think I would do it. And the comments were like, well, it was his brother he's thinking of. And I was like, I don't know that that's the case, but that's kind of, it's a cute sentiment, you know?
Yeah.
And Forrest was immediately like, oh, I would snap Jacob out of Mormonism. I get it. I wouldn't, but that's fine.
I wouldn't snap. I don't think my family would be happier out of Mormonism.
No, I wouldn't. I don't think I'd snap almost. I don't know if you're gay, I'd snap you out of Mormonism.
My cousin who is out, the one person in my extended family who is out, my cousin who is gay is out, and he's gone off to live in some hippie commune somewhere. So that's taking care of itself.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, like, we brought this up a million times before. We've shared this forever ago, but I mean, as it said on the other thing, Christopher Hitchens versus white nationalists. Christopher Hitchens debated a bunch of white nationalists, and as it says in this video, Christopher Hitchens once had a very civil debate with, like, if you go and watch Hitchens debate them, it's not very different than how Tucker debated Fuentes. It's like, do you really think you should be going on, or just thinking this way about people and their ethnicities and that type of stuff? Don't you think it could be, the thing could be separated from that? But Ben Shapiro whipped everybody up into having to have this panic attack about this thing. But then this is another thing that came out, or people were discussing this week. Jeremy Boring, the person who's now kicked out of Daily Wire, who probably messed up most of Daily Wire, because Daily Wire has been on the down bend. I look up all of the ratings, and that's kind of one of the funny things about this too, of the platforming from Mark Levin and
that was hilarious.
They're all at least 4 times bigger than Levin and Shapiro right now.
Oh,
and
Mark
they're
Levin,
the ones.
Him sitting there saying, "I'm not going to platform you and give you a place to speak." I'm like, what are you talking about? He's the number one. There's the number 2 podcast. That fucking retard Candace Owens is the number 1. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want them to be the number 1 and number 2.
Yeah, I'm not
her to be the number 1, but
I'm not in any way in allegiance
don't pretend you're the arbiter
impressed
of this shit.
with that. Like, they were never my favorite listens at all, and they've been interesting lately because it has been a shit show. You know what I mean? But like, Tucker and Candace were never on my lists. They were never on my list to constantly listen to. But look at this. This is 2024, March 25th. Daily Wire CEO Jeremy Boring joined Nick Fuentes on X Spaces. Live audio chat room. Boring told Fuentes he listens to his show quite often and thinks Fuentes is very funny and one of the most talented political influencers, even if he is very concerned about what some of Fuentes says. Later in the discussion, he'd be thrilled to have Fuentes on the Daily Wire show at one point or another. So he's there doing spaces with him and giving him all these compliments and all that sorts of stuff. But now it's totally off board. But I guess Jeremy Boring's been canceled off of that now, but it's like come on with like the sudden pretend outrage about this dipshit, and the entirety of the conservative party needs to crack in half over Catboy.
Have you seen the trailer for the Pendragon cycle?
No,
that's the
I've heard talk about it, but
I watched the trailer. I was actually pretty
what is
impressed. It's like I don't know, kind of a Game of Thrones type thing. I was impressed with the production value of it, and I've
is that the one Boring's been continuing to?
That's been that's been his daydream forever. It's coming out in February. I might get a Daily Wire subscription just to watch it to see how it is.
Yeah. So the second reason why I think Shapiro doesn't want to just straight debate is because it won't just be about Israel. Number one, he's got to defend Netanyahu too much. Number two, he's made a bunch of mistakes over time. It's from the Pendragon book series. I remember him talking about that years ago. Starbase. He's made terrible, obvious mirror arguments for a bunch of woke arguments back in the day. Like identity arguments where. And expects one thing from American people and a whole different thing for the Jewish people, which we talked about earlier. But the last thing is, I think that Fuentes and all those people have enough dirt, and the stuff that Candace brought out this week about Charlie texting, and it might have been unethical for Candace to bring it up, but Charlie talking about the ways that Shapiro and company tried to thwart them and tried to throttle them behind the scenes, and the way Nick was throttled behind the scenes. And we already all know from all the blow up that Crowder claims that those guys tried to throttle him behind the scenes or underpay him or offer him something lower. And I think he doesn't want it to come out to have being part of the debate, his shitty behind the scene tactics. I think he doesn't want that on a super popular, most popular ever debate. Beyond just, I don't think just arguing the points about Israel is what Shapiro's worried about. I think he could just argue the points about Israel if it was just going to be that, easily, and I don't think he'd be afraid of it.
Maybe, I don't know. Do
you think he'd also be afraid of the?
I don't know. He just won't do it.
Yeah.
Maybe he will, and maybe I should go look at some more Shapiro debates where he's talked about Israel. But I don't know. He seems like the neocon Dave Smith, basically. Well, and Israel is Dave Smith's blind spot. Yeah. I like Dave Smith on a lot of things.
Well, people say
think sometimes he can be a little bit emotional, like he jumps straight to impeach Trump a little too quickly. But
well, people say that crowd's as Israel first as Shapiro is. Their first thought's Israel, just as Shapiro's first thought's Israel. And but the I don't know, I don't know if Shapiro's, like you said, just too close to it or that sort of stuff. But I honestly do think he could argue better. But one of the issues that we've seen over time, and one of the reasons I thought Dave Smith was dominating people for a while until people started figuring out, is there was kind of like a list of typical talking points that we heard Shapiro and PragerU and Douglas Murray or whoever kind of just spout out. And Dave Smith and Horton and those guys had already long heard those and gotten to a rebuttal and a second round of arguments after hearing those initial things. And so then those guys would come to the debates and just start at square one again with the initial arguments for Israel, be like our greatest ally, all the money comes back to us and the thing, and all that sort of stuff. Just the same typical arguments. They're already like a thing past that, and they'd be caught off guard that Dave Smith and Scott Horton had arguments past that. And all Coleman and Constantine did was know that they had arguments past those initial arguments, and then look into those, read those, have pushback on those. It wasn't that hard. You know what I mean? Just somewhere past the initial debate.
Part of it is that Constantine can state his exact moment where he was like, all right, I'm on Team Israel right now. Shapiro's just always been on it. And
yeah. Well, so there's this thing too, and it goes back to Cardin, the stuff we were talking about with Cardinals guys. They think that they've gotten to a point where there's some sort of thing where if you just announce that something's a trope and that's proved an anti-Semitism, right?
Yeah.
They got to get past that, because just like happens with Cardin, if there's something that is if this girl, she's just some 20-something girl, comes across a situation and the thing dawns on them, just looking at it, not knowing any sort of history of tropes. We don't know that's a trope that's been addressed for 100 years. You just evoked a trope for 100 years. No, if something is just there because it's apparent, just an observation, like she sees Mark Levin freaking out about Israel constantly, and just a normie girl goes, I think that you care more about Israel. You don't get to evoke, that's 100-year anti-Semitic trope. They didn't go study in the background of the history, I'm going to get these Jews on the
it's right. This really is I don't know, Mormonism 15 years ago realizing that it can't just call things anti-Mormon lies anymore, and it has to actually address the issues.
Anything that's a question just to just the most basic of rational minds, even if you feel like you've addressed it a million times, you've got to address it again when some average person notices, or you're being a piece of shit to them, and you will drive them away harder than if you just answered the thing if you have an answer to it. What's with this dual loyalty? You've either got to, and like we talked about earlier, you've either got to just say, yeah, that one's a double standard. If there's things that are double standards, just admit to your double standards, Shapiro. But somebody like her noticing that it seems like Levin cares more about Israel than the U.S., or it seems like Shapiro cares more about Israel than the U.S., she's not drawing on 1,000-year trope, you know.
Yeah.
Risto says anti-Mormon is still used quite a bit, and Cardin is just 100% adopted that style. Just 100,
yeah.
like not just the thing that we say like that's like Mein Kampf because you've brought up something, you know, you've noticed something that was also talked about in the CES letter, and that's like an anti-Mormon trope. Like, no, I noticed that there's 4 versions of the first vision. That's an anti-Mormon trope. You're drawing on 100 years of anti-Mormons. Like Cardin's picked up on like 100%, just adopted the you know, the super Zionist way of attacking those things. Maybe he's adopted it because Steve has adopted it too. Says Steve who Pinecker. That's just the worst argument in the world to anything or to anybody, and I think all it does is just will completely alienate or put off anybody who you talk that way to. But still, in the end, if you think about it, if you look at it, we're still here just largely talking about from the concept, which I think 100%, as we said last week, was what Charlie Kirk was worried about when he was talking to those people and he was getting pushed back from them and freak out. Is he's like, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you in the internet era when you are hemorrhaging people, when you are hemorrhaging young people. I'm trying to help your arguments. But in the end of all stuff, too, I do have to like lean back and say, yes, a lot of these contradictions or these things also irritate me. It irritates me when Shapiro argues one thing for Jews and another for the United States. It irritates me when, you know, when number one, I don't want a Christian nationalist country or any sort of thing like that. But if it's just perfectly acceptable for Israel to do it, please stop freaking the hell out that people just mention it here. You know, like they're just, if it's been part of history in the world and this stuff, it's like, stop spazzing and demanding others spaz with you, you know?
Yeah, the whole thing is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things I don't understand how people can't see that contradiction. Well, okay, the contradiction is pointed out and they say, but the Holocaust. And then you can say, yeah, I mean, bad things have happened to all of these groups. Like the Uyghur Muslims are in camps in China. Like, can they massacre Chinese? Can they subjugate Chinese? Can they annex a part of China and call it some Islamic ethno-state because of their previous persecution? Can the Mormons do that with Utah? Like, could the Mormons, because of the persecution, take Utah, say this is ours, and only Mormons can live here, and they get special rights? Which, you know, granted, Israel, you know, it gives everybody the same rights as far as I can tell.
Yeah, well, I mean, no, because I asked Grok about this, just and it says not everybody's same rights, but they do 100% have it's not written in their law, but they will keep, they know that they will keep a quota on their population and their immigration levels.
Well, here's the thing. I get it.
Yeah.
If I were a Jewish state surrounded by Islamic states, I would absolutely do that. I mean, I would do that.
That's the other question they have is like, why do they get to do that and we do not get to do that?
Well, no, we need to start doing that to some degree. Like, I'm okay with as many Japanese immigrants moving here as possible, and then just say no more Somali immigrants. Like that, just none of them anymore. We're done.
Well, that's the exact thing. I mean, I was talking about what I thought a solution. Number one is I think there has to just be some admittance, just a general admittance into the world that all the Western nations aren't the exact same universalist liberalism. They each have their own different little brand or can have their own different little brand. And you admit that Jewish is an ethno state and they have they're liberal, but they're still an ethno state. They know that they have a quota. They have a top thing on there. They're not going to annex Gaza because that would make their voting population of Islamist too big. So then that would become a voting block that they can't deal with. But if they're aware that that becomes a voting block, can the United States not also understand that voting blocks are created that way, like the Somalis all moving in here, or you know, whatever, like what happened in New York last week. It's all the exact same thing. That
But some tribal shit. You would assume that if you bring some, I don't know, if you ask any lefty, like, okay, let's look at Islamic nations. Do you think they're right wing or left wing? They would say right wing. They'd say very conservative, crazy conservative is what they would say. And then you'd say, okay, you bring them all here, you bring them to New York. Do you think they'll vote for the conservative mayor or the liberal mayor or the communist mayor?
Yeah.
And they might say the conservative mayor because they're conservative, and they say, but the communist mayor is Muslim. And they'd short circuit, and then they'd realize, oh, fuck. Yeah, you're right. No, they'll fuck.
Risa says, keep the Japanese out. Their imperialism and cartoons are no bueno.
Hey, I'm talking about from what we have, Risto. You're in Somalia town right now. Wouldn't you rather, if you could replace every Somalian in Minnesota with a Japanese person, would you do it?
So I think it is a unacceptable double standard that, like, pull Douglas Murray. And Douglas Murray's made the argument.
That's not worth it. Sorry, go on.
Douglas Murray's made the argument with his book, The Strange Death of Europe, in some sort of sense. But they should be able to say England should be allowed to stay some level England, just like Israel's trying to stay some level Israel. We got to put a cap on what's being just wiped out through immigration. There can be some, and maybe even should be some to some levels, but there's got to be a cap, or it will no longer be England. Just like you're allowed to say for Israel, but you're not allowed to say for England. Yeah. Ireland, all those English nations are able to say that. I do think, not English, I mean European, because they never signed on. They never signed on to what we did sign on to here. And I do not think, and I know some people pulled like the earlier Constitution, all that sorts of stuff, but I think we do have ultimately a propositional nation currently. But I think we should be allowed to much stronger hold that people 100% agree to that proposition and really prove it and show it and be slow and cautious with it.
Well, I don't know. I do understand that America is unique, and I hate this cliche, but sure, we are more an idea than an ethnicity, right? More than probably any other nation on the planet, but still, you can discriminate against people who are against that idea.
Yeah.
Like you get Trump. I think I've talked about it several times now. Trump doing the Muslim ban back in 2018 or whenever that was that he did it. They called it the Muslim ban. And back then I tried to explain to people why it's not a Muslim ban. It's actually a ban on these certain states. And a few of them happen to be like Islam ethno states, which should bother you a little bit that they are Islam ethno states, but whatever. But now, if you tell me that, like, he's specifically targeting Muslim states, I'd be like, yeah, of course. Like, what? Discrimination isn't bad. Like, discrimination in itself.
No, nobody's not discriminating at any given moment. Not. There's nobody who's got like the.
Well, and again, I give the, I've said this 1,000 times. It's the whole. A random person can watch your kid for a week. Do you choose a male or a female? Everybody, the people who are savvy would try to act like they'd hem and haw about it, but everybody in their mind would be like, well, definitely, push comes to shove, I'm going to choose the female above the male. And I would too. Like, if that's the only thing I know about the person watching my kids, I would choose the female. Yeah. And I would hope for the best. I would be nervous as hell, but not as nervous as I would be if it was a random male.
Yeah,
and that's discrimination. It is. I would discriminate.
And beyond, like you said last week, and I guess we got to, the point is nobody believes in the blank slateism anymore. Like there's something to take into account with identities. And we still believe in like the color blindness, like Coleman Hughes argues for too, but it can't just like be the straight, like 100% color blindness. Sure, if you can demonstrate that you buy into the same proposition, but everybody to some account has to take in a little bit about identity. Identity's got to be factored in a little bit in there. I think you put a 15% or 80% or something like on that too. There's got to be a percentage into it, especially when you're talking about crowds and big long crowds. I saw James Lindsay was on Nick Freitas. I had the clip, but I'm gonna pull up. But like Freitas asked him about the same question about just importing authoritarianism, and James Lindsay gave the biggest long-winded dodge of an answer, which was ridiculous. But he got down and it was like, yeah, you got to be slower with it, finally after 15 minutes of like a long answer. Risto says, I'd rather import Somalis and Mexicans than college grads. There's truth to that.
No.
Not and just my experience, but I know with the Somalians in high school went right into the gate. Starbase says he'll take the Japanese and all that sort of stuff. I think all that stuff should just be brought in more slowly. I mean, I heard Aaron McIntyre on Nick Freitas today, just a week later, which I think with James Lindsay and how he's been lately, he went on Nick Freitas last week, and if Freitas has on Aaron McIntyre just this week, James Lindsay might never talk to him again now because he had on Aaron McIntyre. But Aaron says nobody's really a citizen until the kids or the grandkids. You know what I mean? Like nobody just coming over can actually just become the citizen.
I don't know. You even got like you got guys as right wing as Mark Dice saying things like, "Yeah, I don't want political ads to be in a foreign nation. I want them to be in English. I understand that. I don't want political rallies to wave foreign flags. But also, I'm totally fine with Mexicans that immigrate here legally and that assimilate. Like Mexicans are pretty good at assimilating for the most part. They have some cultural differences from us, but like there's so much more Western than like the Somalians and stuff.
They're more Western than Venezuelans.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I would take the Mexicans over the Venezuelans any day.
Well, we had so many Mexican friends growing up because
I had a Venezuelan girlfriend. Well, but I know that doesn't count for lefties anyway. But like we're even talking those dipshits anymore.
Well, it's my dad served in a lot of Spanish branch positions, so we had a lot of Mexican friends. And they were awesome. They were great. They were a little bit different from us in that, like, I don't know, maybe they'll have a bunch of kids with grandkids living in their home and they'll have a bunch of cars in front of their house. But that's not a huge deal to me because they invite you to their parties. They'll celebrate Cinco de Mayo and they'll wave the Mexican flag because that is their heritage. I understand that. If you want to acknowledge the holidays of your heritage, I'm not pissed off about that at all. Yeah, Starbase does Mexican #1 immigrants.
Yeah, I love Mexicans.
Mexicans are great. But
well, I guess not the cartel ones, but I don't know that I've ever officially met a cartel one. But the ones just working around us all these past years, they're the greatest. Anyway, I want to read what Brett Weinstein said here. The respectful folks are going to keep telling themselves that Nick Fuentes is just some vile little trolling riding a monster, a wave of bigotry. I'm going to keep pointing out that they're misunderstanding the wave and underestimating him. Ultimately, I'll have to explain Fuentes' appeal and skill set. Then I'll be condemned for 1, sympathizing with it, 2, doing the bidding of, and 3, attempting nuance around a young adult Hitler. And John Papola, who's a Dad Hates America, who did a great episode on this stuff just this week. Jonathan shared it with us. Watch his episode on the infighting. You're in the right lane, Brett. There's no reason to believe that one can solve the problem of an intellectual black market with more prohibition. I'm firmly in the take this seriously and engage camp, not for Nick, but for those who can slip from this reasonable critiques from the barbaric collectivism. I'm going to skip those other ones just because it's just people pushing back on him and saying, but Brett's right. You gotta tease out. Go ahead.
You should go back to that last one real quick because I like that last interaction because I've said this to you and you've said this to me, and a lot of my friends that like live around here that I talk to say the same thing. Brett really is the last great remnant of the intellectual dark web. Everyone else, Douglas Murray, James Lindsay, Ben Shapiro became the woke right. I don't know about the woke right thing. I still can't.
Everybody's pointing each direction on woke, but those guys are the ones calling the others woke right. But there's little truths to both sides of it, just from the collectivism and the tactics.
The my only criticisms of Brett that I've ever seen is that he does seem like kind of a simp for Elon Musk, and he gets a little bit bitchy when Elon doesn't respond to him enough. But other than that, like his takes have been solid from now back until the time I first discovered him.
Yeah. I've got something on James later. Just I've got to get going with the dog here pretty quick, but I'm gonna just charge through these things. I thought this was a pretty thing comparing him to Peter Pan, because it is true. Like all the young guys, like getting all whipped up on all stuff. They got to, you know, at some point, you got to get out. Rhetorically Defective. That's a channel we watch. Those guys are older and more studied. You know, have more history, and they suck Fuentes' balls. And I'm like, okay, like, so you like some of his arguments and all that stuff, but you guys, like, why are you guys championing this dude? You know what I mean? Like, sure that you like that he defends and just is hardcore and won't back off of the Israel thing, but other than that, it's like, honestly, you want that to be. Oh,
hold on, the Peter Pan thing. I like that. I want to. What was it? Peter Pan was a tyrant. His lost boys remained arrested in their development under his willingness to thin the tribe if they look to grow up. Fuentes' eternal boyishness is noteworthy. His love of chicken tenders, pizza, and cookies are incredibly symbolic. He keeps the Goyim perfectly arrested with his streaming spells of verbal filth and
performative taboo breaking, which it is performative.
Well,
that's why you can't freak out at it, because that's what he's looking for with that.
Well, this is I love ranting about stories, right? And I don't know if I've ever ranted about Peter Pan before, but like at some point you grow up and realize that Peter Pan is the bad guy. And like that imagery right there should let you know that he's not the bad guy. Like Captain Hook is the bad guy, but like, cause he's trying to kill these kids and stuff like that. But Peter Pan, he is trying to stunt the growth of the Lost Boys, and Wendy is the call to adulthood. And that is sort of a really archetypal male-female dynamic where the male is trying to remain a boy and the female is nagging him into becoming a man, which is pretty great. I remember telling a friend this before, that as I grow older, like Lion King was my favorite Disney movie when I was a little kid. And then at some point you realize that Hakuna Matata was Simba's main enemy, or his main vice, because obviously Scar's the main bad guy, but Hakuna Matata is the idea that Simba ought to shirk his responsibilities. He has a responsibility to Pride Rock. He is the king. He is supposed to come back and save his people. And because he shirked his responsibilities for all those years through things that were largely out of his control, his father being murdered in front of him and him being ran off as a child, like, you understand why he did that, but you also understand that he had a responsibility to be there. And if he were there, especially if he were there under Mufasa's guidance, he would have led Pride Rock into prosperity the whole time. And the funniest part is that since he wasn't there, Scar let a bunch of hyenas in. Like, we need to be equal with the hyenas, and they just destroyed everything. Simba comes back, gets rid of Scar, the hyenas scatter, and then Pride Rock is fine. What was Disney trying to say?
Yeah. Notice like Starbase and Risto have been talking a lot about the virtue and the internal stuff, and the young men need to see what real men, like all that stuff's like totally true what they're saying. Men with morals were demonized, and they saw that good men get no credit, but evil men who wielded force cemented their legacy in history too. Yeah, all that's so true. Risto's saying there's not been enough like just virtue, and it's internal more than any sort of political answer. But I mean, this is just, you can see I've been posting all over with these guys. Clint Russell, you know, he was on with Ian Carroll and Dave Smith last week, and he's just all over like Candace is doing so great and all that stuff. And Candace has been just ridiculous to me. But like, I'm just asking them, like, I will message and send them directly. Like, I'm sure you heard Scott Horton on Friday say he has some sense that Fuentes is an op. I tend to agree with him. Someone on Twitter said if Fuentes didn't exist, Shapiro would need to create him. That's basically what he did to Ron Paul. Oh, and that's one of the things that why the libertarians hate him so much. If you go back in Ben Shapiro's history, there's not a thing about Fuentes that Shapiro didn't say about Ron Paul.
Yeah.
Which is just, it's still just blood in the water for libertarians. I get. Let me just finish this. I get dodging hard criticism because of internet tactics with gripers. So they know that they got to like tap dance with it, rather than just kind of. You and Dave and Ian dared to criticize, which they did on their episode. And they tried to talk about maybe trying to get Fuentes to drop some of his ethnic shit. I commend that, but do you not have some hesitancy that he exists to be the bad apple that spoils the bunch? Fuentes and Levin are losing Fuentes and Levin are losing smear power, but does Nick still carry it covertly? I meant to say Shapiro. Shapiro and Levin are losing smear power, but does Nick still carry it covertly? Like, is Nick there to make you guys look like idiots too?
So are you trying to say that like Tucker and Candace were right in their initial criticism of Nick?
Yeah, that's why I said that back when we watched that. I said all these guys are right about each other. Like Fuentes is right that Tucker's CIA. Tucker's right that Fuentes is not. Like I thought, like the one thing you can tell. I said that when that episode came out.
So I want to understand the anatomy of a Fed, because I don't know. You've talked about Fuentes being a Fed for as long as we've been talking about him, and this is less me. It's not like me doubting you. It's more like I don't totally what does it mean for Fuentes to be a Fed?
No, he doesn't. I could just be like Barnes has talked about this too, because it's legal with like the Epstein thing. Like if somebody's actually like an agent or actually a Fed, or if they're just an asset of the thing.
But what does it look like? Like what does it look? Does he gain some amount of prominence? The Feds see him and then they swoop in, or was he a Fed from the beginning? And
I don't know, like when it happened or when it came over. I think that they swoop in or they start talking to him to use him or that sort of thing. But I think some of the stuff, and Robert Barnes has actually gotten into more detail about this, but some of it is Robert Barnes thinks that there's not very good proof that he actually was debanked, that was just a claim, and there's not very good proof that he was taken off of a flight list. That's just a claim, and it's all stuff to like help build him up and that sort of stuff. But one of the bigger things, just like everybody thought that what's his name at the January 6th was a Fed. You remember that? The guy who was
Robert Epps.
Well, guess who just had the exact same arc at the January 6th thing? Fuentes was there. Fuentes was there barking and yelling stuff out. You can like go even ask Grok like what the difference is between what happened with Fuentes and what happened with Enrique Tarrio. Like why was there a major difference?
So Enrique Tarrio, he wasn't even there, was he?
He wasn't even there.
He wasn't even there. Fuentes was there. He was high profile.
Nothing happened. Right. Beyond that, there's a bunch of people claimed that he helped turn in a bunch of J6ers.
So yeah, you got it. That does sound suspicious. You got Fuentes there. Number one white
still a big name, already a big name, person they would love to take down. Not a thing happened to him.
Yeah, I would. Okay, no, that's weird. Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out what it means for him to be a Fed, because I feel like if Fuentes were a Fed, it would be that they found him and they saw him being fairly talented and fairly funny. And
well, you remember when they caught Enrique Tarrio was revealed to be an actual Fed too, and they still did something to him. Like Enrique Tarrio was revealed to have been working with the Feds in other scenarios.
Oh,
yep. And that one's not. That one is, like look it up, grok it. Like, so.
Well, I got a tired wife that needs me to take over for the baby. So you got anything else?
Socrates Random says Fuentes testified to Congress. He's never been affiliated with law enforcement. Fuentes isn't testified to Congress. Are you talking about the other guy? What's the dude's name? Who? And that one was
You're talking about Ray Epps.
Ray Epps is who you're talking about.
What
the hell are you talking about?
Ray Epps didn't tell people not to go in. He told people to go in, and people started
mixing up Epps and Fuentes.
So, well, I don't know if he is, because Ray Epps told people to go in, and people started chanting "Fed" at him. I don't know what Fuentes did at January 6th. I don't remember. I know he was there. Yeah. Also, he was placed on the no-fly list. That's what Chris was disputing.
It says Fuentes did provide testimony to the House Select Committee at January 6th attack. He did not appear in a public hearing, but was deposed in committee behind closed doors. come on. Behind closed doors, you're a fucking dupe. Fuentes, like, and look up, Enrique Tarrio was a Fed asset and always had been. Like, what exactly it means or not, like, so I usually like to use the word op or not an op, but Fuentes was subpoenaed and they talked to him behind closed doors, but nothing else was behind closed doors. Like, come on. There's so much different stuff by that and Enrique Tarrio got 22 years.
That is fucking nuts. That's insane.
Fed, op. He's an op. I mean, it's working with or not, like getting paid or put directly on the payroll or being brought up. But I think there's also strange stuff about his rise to prominence, about his claims to being debanked and all that sorts of stuff. It's fishy. Like, all of it's fishy.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I think like, if Fuentes is a Fed or an op, whatever, he'd be a pretty good one, because he is fairly good at what he does. The one confusing thing to me is how much these people are glazing him. Like, I think he's fairly talented. I don't think he's nearly as talented as like Dave Smith and Tucker Carlson are making him sound.
Yeah.
He's a drama kid. He's definitely a theater kid.
Yeah. Maybe I pull it up or pull it up next week, but like Scott Horton went off on Provoked about how he thought or seen, and then everybody on the Provoked channel started flipping out on him, saying, "Did you get the $7,000 or some sort of thing like that?" Oh, not to mention that just this week, the Fuentes also kind of got canceled from the right because he said he was okay with anchor babies.
Yeah, that's nuts. Well,
and then he went around going and saying other people were dead to him because they said, "Hey, explain to me why you said anchor babies are okay."
Well, it's difficult to understand why the white nationalist movement would accept the dude who's half Mexican.
Yeah. But at the same time, too, if he is working directly with the federal people or not with the federal people, not to mention this guy saying he literally said this thing like testifying to Congress. But you remember when Christopher Wray said no feds were at January 6th? Like somebody who would be a Fed or some sort of thing like that would actually be afraid at Congress to say something about it. You know, it's such a joke. Like they ever actually get anybody for anything there. Let me see.
Well, I better be getting
call it.
Well, it's my night to watch the baby. Morgan's.
Yeah, I got to go start walking a dog. I think we got. Oh wait, here's this. Yeah, I was going to talk about the H-1Bs more, but no need to do that. You guys calling everyone they disagree with a Nazi Republican. Yeah, Dinesh D'Souza jumping in on that. U.S. Navy trains Americans off the street to run nuclear submarine programs. Amazon excuse claims 3 years isn't enough to train an American for a tech job. Oh, this was the one last thing I wanted to look. James Lindsay, I shouted earlier, but Matt Walsh, who's obviously just saying this like a normie, even if it were true that we don't have enough talented people in this country, which it isn't, that would be all the more reason to stop importing foreigners. We need to train up our own people, give actual Americans a shot. America is for Americans. I'm going to just point out slightly uncomfortably that a historical source for this line, America to the Americans, in this exact kind of context, is Hitler's infamous January 1939 Reichstag speech. Matt is unlikely to know this, of course, and less likely to care. Like, if he doesn't know it and he wasn't referencing it, but at the same time, like that is just totally like a did Hitler drink water too thing scenario. And James Lindsay's totally getting out over his skis and being spurgy about stuff. And I think he's not helping either in these scenarios.
Yeah, James Lindsay's gone pretty schizo.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to. Nope. Yeah, just go watch Provoked with Scott Horton and see he thinks he's an op too. And Robert Barnes has gone multiple times into thinking that he's also an op. So,
well, hot damn.
Yeah.
I gotta go relieve my wife from baby duty.
Sounds good. I gotta go walk a Peppy. So.
Oh wait, actually, I was gonna say one of the things I I want to do. I've been staying up late with the baby watching Forensic Files. You ever watch that?
What's that?
Forensic Files.
I think I have.
I'm sure you've seen it before. It's been on forever. I want to put together a list of just the utterly uninsightful observations of the cops on the scene, because there's been a lot of them, and the only one I can think of right now is just the other day. The narrator's like, when the police arrived on the scene, the man had been brutally beaten, blood was everywhere, and then he was drowned in the bathtub. And then it flashes over to the cop that was on the scene. He's like, yeah, when I came to that place, I was like, this was not no suicide. This was not a normal suicide. Yeah? What clued you into that? Was it that people normally don't beat themselves to death and then drown themselves in a fucking bathtub, buddy?
Yeah.
So that's gonna be my new thing. I want
Right.
to do that. All right, I gotta go.
Yeah. Okay. Catch y'all later.
See ya.